Breathe a little deeper. Fallen, broken, a million light.
G'day folks and welcome back for the second series of this evening here for Six Masters 2020. I'm Guz and Raven is joining me once again. Let's talk about that first series for a second, Raven. Kanga, they finally got their very first win in Six Masters against LFO.
They did, and Lux Bruce couldn't have been happier, I'd say. He finally gets to shave, which we saw the start of. Thankfully not the end of. But look, I'm stoked for them to have gotten that win. And look, LFO can still make playoffs, we think, but it's really going to be tough for them. And it's all going to come down to Thursday.
Now it's time for the big series tonight. It's Elevate taking on Okami. Elevate have had such a rough end to this season, Raven, and if they falter again tonight, they're done.
Yeah, boy, if you thought the stakes in that first series were tough, the heat is rising on this one because, again, Elevate are in the same position as LFO in that they need to be perfect. They need to win both of these maps tonight, and then Okami have wild card coming up on Thursday. And if they lose both of those, Elevate's in, I believe. It's something to that extent. The stakes are really hot for this one.
Well, we have the lineup ready. Let's have a look at how these teams are shaping up for this evening. First up, of course, it will be that Elevate roster. And as we mentioned, they've been through some pretty rough recent form.
They really had some struggles against opponents that you just wouldn't have really expected them to. I mean, they dropped both maps to the Knights, which is quite astounding considering they quite strongly beat the Knights in Pro League Season 11 when they were under the Homeless banner. But they've also lost maps to LFO, Ferox, double to Wildcard last week. It's been tough for them, and it's really do or die now. They have to come out of the slump if they want to be making playoffs.
And again, it's going to be a hard slump to come out of. Their opponent this evening is Okami, and they themselves have been in pretty consistent, pretty good form for the entirety of this season. And if they continue this tonight, then Elevate could go home empty-handed and not make the playoffs.
Yeah, and Okami are not without their own inconsistencies. They have also dropped maps to some opponents that you would expect them not to drop maps to. LFO being a standout one there. That was a 7-8 overtime though, so really narrowest of margins. But losing maps to Sinister, Ferox, even Knights as well, Okami lost a map to. So somewhat in the same boat as Elevate, but maybe not quite as dim. They are also fighting for their chance to stay in top 4.
Yeah, Okami heading into tonight are third, so they are in the top 4 and they're trying to hold on to that position. Keep in mind as well that Okami are one of the teams that is not only playing tonight but also playing Thursday night. So this is not their last series for the season. They want to be winning 2 maps tonight and 2 maps later in the week to give themselves the best chance at making that top 4.
And tough way to do it. They've got Elevate tonight, and then that match on Thursday is against Wildcard. So it's not easy for them. It's not easy for any of these teams, to be quite frank. But it starts tonight, and that's why this series is going to be such a barn burner.
Well, of course, it's a best of 2 series. Each team gets 2 bans and 2 picks. Let's see the bans and see where we won't be heading for this series. It will be Border taken out by Okami and then Clubhouse by Elevate.
Border being a highly played map by Elevate, showing that it's one of their stronger maps, but not without weaknesses. They did lose it to Sinister, but Clubhouse, their ban has always been their weakness for Six Masters. It's really much just been the insta-ban for Elevate going forward, so nothing too surprising there. Not that it's a great map for Okami either, but I think that's just more Elevate not wanting to play Club.
Well, both these teams have a pretty varied map pool. Let's see where they'll be heading tonight. 1 pick each. Once again, Consulate for Okami, and then we'll be heading back to Coastline again this evening. That'll be Elevate's pick.
Consulate is a surprising pick for me. It's a pretty good map for Okami. It's a mixed results map for Elevate. They've had some good wins on it. They beat LFO 7-0, Kanga 7-2. I don't know whether you can really call that a big win, but regardless, they've had some victories on Consulate. So it's not like that's a massive weakness there for Elevate. And then the Coastline one, I actually haven't seen Elevate play at all, in fact, in Six Masters. So that could be a little bit of a surprise up their sleeve kind of pick.
Yeah, that definitely raises a bit of a question mark. Okami won't have anything recent to go off. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. Teams, of course, can look back at previous matches, gain some intel on how their opponent is going to approach the match. And I mean, they just don't have that. It doesn't exist because they haven't played it, which could make things quite challenging when you're trying to approach that map, which is one that is really favor of aggressive play styles. And without that sort of VOD review in place, could make things pretty tough.
Yeah, that being said, though, I kind of feel like based on play styles, I would probably more favor Okami's play style, but I wouldn't put it past Elevate to have prepped hard for this and saved it for a reason.
Well, this should be a really close series. Let's have a look at the poll vote and see what you folks at home think. Elevate with a pretty convincing lead, and interestingly enough, only 8% for the draw.
Yeah, I think that just indicates that it's a real do or die series, and you think that both teams are really going to be going all out. Probably a lot of people are looking at seeing that the stakes are potentially higher for Elevate, given that they have to win both these maps, where Okami, even if they lose both of these, they've got another match on Thursday against Wildcard. And if they manage to get maps there, I believe they still do retain a top 4 spot. So yeah, the stakes are really putting pressure onto Elevate in this one. I think a lot of people are expecting them to be able to rise to the occasion.
And the thing to keep in mind is if you're an Elevate fan at home, even if they do actually win both of the maps tonight, take the 6 points, that doesn't actually 100% confirm their position in the playoffs. If the results go against them across the next 2 nights, they can still be knocked out. So again, like you mentioned, it's do or die. And at the end of the day, it may actually be out of their hands if they do make the top 4.
Yeah, and that's a really annoying and frustrating position to be in as a team. Knowing that your fate is in someone else's hands is just, it's not a great feeling.
Well, you know what is a great feeling? Jumping into the map, it's Consulate. Elevate taking on Okami. Strap yourselves in. This is going to be a really fun series. Both these teams battling it out for maximum points. Let's get it.
Let's get it indeed. A couple of players to look out for. I mean, we didn't really talk about the lineups too much, but Ippy Style is a real X-Factor player for Okami. And on top of that, Cutie's been having a really good season as well. So I think that's a key factor here for Elevators. Keep an eye on those players, try and shut them down, keep them out of the game.
Capital, again, will see himself banned out tonight. Commonly used to cut off a lot of the rotates on this map and lines of sight. And we followed up onto an IQ. So we are going to go a match here in Six Masters without a Thatcher ban, which is always nice to see.
Oh, well, we saw Thatcher played on Coastline earlier tonight, so we get to see a little bit more action on here. A mute ban is a big one there from Elevate. Mute, very strong operator on Consulate. Some really great jam positions through that basement that go through in towards the first floor. So I like that ban, and the Valkyrie ban is also a great one on Consulate, denying intel outside of the building. Often Valk cameras going out, those black eyes, getting information on the windows, facilitating runouts. That is not something that we'll be able to see a lot of now with that Valkyrie being taken off.
Some may be looking at that ban phase and thinking it's a little bit peculiar. I mean, there's operators such as Maestro, Echo, Mirror making it through on the defense, and then on the attack, not a single hard breach taken out, Thatcher not taken out. So this will definitely shake up how this map plays out. Console meeting will be the first site of choice here for Okami, who are starting on the defense. We have to Elevate to try and flush them out.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Into it, and nothing dramatic that I'm seeing here from the Okami lineup at least. They've got the Omega combo there to stop a lot of those projectiles and grenades. I expect Mangos is probably going to play around yellow stairs. We've seen him do that quite a lot of on Consulate before with Okami, and it really is the traditional spot to play as a smoke. That means Elevator going to have to be good with the utility to be able to clear that out.
I think the one pick of the 10 that surprises me really, or is a little bit eye-opening, or has caught my eye. I can't think of the way to describe it, but it is Vast on the Ying, an operator that does provide quite a bit of utility. one that,
Attackers'
despite
objective is to
being
locate a
nerfed
bomb and
recently
defuse it.
after being buffed, is still quite strong. And that's a really good counter to that Omega combo. You're trying to clear some of that projectile denial.
And God Legion on Dokkaebi is also quite a surprising pick for me coming out of Elevate in their lineup. Never seen them play a massive amount of Dokkaebi before, and especially God Legion to play the Dokkaebi. I think in the past it was Vast or Red that actually played the Dokkaebi. So I'm curious how that's going to play out, and that really shows to me that Elevate have gone and looked at themselves and how they've been playing, and they've made some, I wouldn't say dramatic changes, but they've clearly made some changes here.
Yeah, I mean, Elevate, over the last few weeks at least, it has felt like round after round, they're switching up their roles quite dramatically, playing each other's operators, whereas you contrast that to, let's say, I don't know, Kanga earlier tonight on Coastline, right? They were playing basically the same people on the same operators round after round. And I mean, that comes down, I guess, to personal preference of the team and how the team's tracking, but I think it is interesting to flag the fact that Elevate are being so flexible with their picks.
And that can work two ways. And that also shows a bit of experience as well. The more experienced players and teams are more comfortable to flex around on operators. Wildcard is another good example of that. But it also can work against you. If you're changing things too much, not only are you potentially fixing things you're not good at, but you can also make things you're good at play out differently. So there is two sides to that coin, and we're going to get to see whether it actually is going to be one of those for Elevate or the other.
Well, I mean, we can start theorizing. We know that the objective is going to be the top floor on Consulate. We saw the operators, assuming that those are being stuck again. What can we sort of expect in this round? Because what I'm envisioning, or what I thought we were going to see in that round, is Ying and maybe some of the other operators with flashbangs, for example, head to yellow stairs, try and flush that out really quickly and take out Mangoes. He's probably playing that key position, and then maybe use that as a foothold for the rest of the site, which could have been interesting because just prior to that rehost, we saw a heavy hold in admin, which is the complete other side of the map from the defenders. So that could have been pretty interesting if that played out.
And this could also come down to something that we talked about in the first series in terms of counter-stratting and VOD watching. That was something that Elevate were trying to do most recently on Consulate, which was against Wildcard. They were doing admin pushes, but in the past, they've actually done mostly CO and yellow stairs pushes. So I feel like they could really easily read, hey, there's a lot of heavy presence in admin, let's rotate. And depending how quickly that happens, they might be able to cut off Okami and make use of that really effectively. So there's a couple of things that could be in play just this first round here that I'm really keen to see play out.
And I guess that really plays into how the entire map and the entire series will play. How adaptive and reactive are these teams going to be? Because there might be a scenario where the attackers go, oh yeah, we'll still try and push this, like we'll be fine, and then get stomped, as opposed to, you know, having that proactive mindset and reacting more on the fly. And that's a play style I think that has been pretty beneficial for a lot of teams this season. It feels like some of the teams that are a little bit less reactive on the fly do fall back a bit. Again, I don't want to Kanga bash too much here, but we did see again on Coastline, like on the attacks, they brought the same operators time and time again, and it just didn't work. Whereas on other occasions, in other maps, other teams, where they've been switching it up, it has been throwing off their opponents a little bit more.
Yeah, and there's just so many things that are at play in Rainbow Six Siege in general with how that works. You can adapt so many different ways, where it's the way you play, it's just a simple change where the position of one person, or yeah, it could be as dramatic as changing your operator lineup. But even if you change your operator lineup, if you play it out the same or differently, that could also be the wrong decision. So it's just so many layers of decision making and adaptation. It's not easy for teams, and that's where just experience and synergy is where the great teams rise to the top, because they're just reading situations better, reacting quicker and maybe with more accuracy, and that's where it gets hard for these teams that are struggling to be able to recounter that.
I think it's a fair point to bring up that being adaptive isn't easy. When you think about it, the amount of time that the teams have from when a round concludes and when the next round starts, for us it might feel a little bit long, but for the teams, that selection phase and the 6-pick phase is really, really short, super short. They hardly have any time. They don't have a minute to talk about the last round and completely analyze it. They've got to be really quick, think on their feet. And as you mentioned, that's sort of where the cream rises to the top, right? If you're a team that has that synergy to quickly know what went wrong, and you can quickly make those changes in the sort of 10-15 second pick phase that you have, then you'll come out on top. Whereas if you get a bit stale, you get a little bit overwhelmed during that phase and don't make the changes, then you're going to struggle.
Yeah, and something you alluded to, which I don't think you really fully grasp sometimes as a viewer until you play competitive, is a 15-second operator pick time is so short. Like, if you have a shadow of doubt or a slither of doubt of what operators to bring, that timer will just disappear. And that can really change your whole round. If you're not prepared enough going into the round, and maybe you've got the wrong operators, that could be that round over already. So you're right, an emphasis on being prepared and having quick decision making is a really difficult skill. And even the good teams, or a lot of good teams that you see play, that's still something that they can struggle with.
And I guess, like everything, when the stakes are higher, like they are tonight, for example, it becomes even harder. That sort of pressure can cloud your judgment, make you feel a little bit nervous, and you might not be as confident in your decisions outside of even the pick phase. That flows onto every aspect of Siege. Of course, incredibly complex, but with these stakes being as high as they are, that pressure, the more it mounts, the more mistakes will arise out of these teams rather that aren't well equipped. I mean, LFO, for example, earlier tonight, that pressure started to rise and it did appear like they crumbled. And this matchup, the stakes are ramped up even higher. If Elevate start on the back foot, that's going to be really, really rough for them to sort of get over that mental hurdle.
Yeah, pressure is really the key word of this entire week. And these series that we're seeing play out, it's all about who manages the pressure the best. Elevate have always had a lot of pressure on them. They've always been this team that's competing at top 4 level. Pro League Season 11, they finally managed to get second place, only to Fnatic by a few points. And that was where they really showed that they can handle the high pressure at that end. We haven't seen it as much in Six Masters, but they need to bring it out right now in this series.
Of course, keep in mind, heading into this season, Elevate were the first seed. Of course, they finished second in Pro League Season 11. Fnatic, who finished first, elected not to enter Six Masters, meaning Elevate were the first seed. So mathematically or logically, you'd go, oh, yeah, they'll finish first, right? But no, they are currently not first. In fact, they're not even in the top 4. So this is do or die for them.
5 seconds left.
They want to make playoffs.
Is seeing a pretty similar setup here from Okami. It's top floor. First round. See what they do here. Doesn't look like as much presence as we thought. Oh no, there is 2 players in admin, in fact. So look, I really just don't think Elevate are going to push that. And nobody spawned there. Gold Legion's running over to the west side here. So I think they've read into that and they just think that's going to be too tough. Let's not push into that.
5 Elevate members outside of the yellow stair, so it looks like they are committing to that push. Of course, I'll need to flush out Mangoes, who's playing at the top there. Likely
Bomb
has
located by
Jaeger
attackers.
ADS devices and were mine magnets covering him from any projectiles, such as grenades that could take him out. Elevate playing it patiently and trying to time this. That Mangoes doesn't get away. In fact, is there anything holding that? I don't think there is.
I
So,
believe they used a role-placed EMP
Attackers
to
bomb diffuser has
okay,
been
those?
dropped.
cool. I was caught sleeping. Sorry, that rehost,
Fine.
man. Rehost, oh, I love it.
It happens.
Oh, Mango's almost got caught
standing.
sleeping. Jesus,
Yeah,
that was close.
right in front of the window. What is he doing?
Oh, well, he gets away with that, and we'll use his second gas grenade. Elevate, really struggling to clear him out. They should be clearing that position by now. God Legion will be met at a player at the bottom of Spiral in a second. Will he peek the angle? Oh, he just wins that gunfight. Ippy style, you'd back him to win that on most occasions, but God Legion does get on top of that one.
I want to talk about slumps. I mean, I don't want to put too much pressure on a certain player here, but Gold Legion hasn't had the kind of season that we would expect from him. I mean, Pro League Season 11 and previous Pro League seasons, he has just been gunning, and he's been one of the most formidable fraggers in ANZ, but so far in Six Masters, we haven't seen that much from him. Vast stepping up here as well, giving Elevate a great man advantage here. With about a minute to go, means they're pretty well set up on this attack.
Fast has one Candela left that he can use to try and flush out this position. He's waiting patiently to time it with the rest of his team, and he will throw it out. The call surely follows to get aggressive, and he does. Play behind the shield, likely blind, won't see him cross, and he will get the kill. So it's a 5-on-2. Cutie and Jack Dad left to try and clutch this one up. Fast still has a goose stuck in him, so he can't sprint. We'll eventually take that out. I mean, this is still a winnable position for Okami. They have pretty strong lines of sight, into sight, and talking about lines of sight, Cutie gets 2. Jack Daddy as well gets 1, and now it's a 2-on-2. Cutie almost finds another, but will be taken down. Vast gets aggressive and will find the picks. Elevate just narrowly take the first round. Definitely not convincing, but hey, they do get that round win on the board.
And I think in the end, I mean, every round's important, but I think considering how that was almost thrown from a 5v2, oh boy, it was important that Elevate secured that round, because they do not want to be starting on the back foot of the mindset. And to have thrown a 5v2 would have been quite detrimental, I'd have to say. So great job for them to hold on to it. And it was a good first 2 minutes of that attack. They were all over Okami on the initial approach phase.
That would have been very, very demoralizing if Elevate did lose it. The edge out on top to start their campaign this evening. I'm going to see Mirror in play, of course. She made it through the ban phase. Mango's picking her for below. There's a lot you can do with Mirror here. Some teams will opt to play her below and create lines of sight. Some will play her aggressively in the bathroom above. Very intrigued to see how they try and set this up, and it looks like a lot of utility will be expended on this first floor.
Seen a lot of Cutie, I think, normally playing in the public bathroom position, but maybe they've made some changes here. I'd say it's less likely that he's going to play this as the Mozzie, but I don't know, I could be wrong with that. Some interesting strats coming out from Okami, looking a little different to what I'd seen from them previously. Mango is going to be playing a great little mirror here in public, an angle in towards the lobby. Something Elevate are going to have to think about on this clear.
Second mirror will be placed on the cafeteria wall that's facing in towards checkers between the black and white cars, or the white van and the black car if you want to be very pedantic. Goyo shield placed as well on the default plant position in front of that white van. And no shortage of utility to clear here for Elevate. And that's not really something they dealt a whole lot with in the last round, so it will pose a new challenge.
3 Elevate players stacked up on the east side, so probably going to take admin, clear across, get that vertical control. Burka playing down an archive, so he's going to be getting a lot of intel here for his team and relaying that back. This is very traditional Elevate to be doing this vertical clear. No one really in their way though on this top floor, so hopefully they don't waste too much time there, otherwise they will be up against it later in the round. Really at the moment, the only ones lurking middle floor looks like it's Cutie. And that's it.
Heartbeat sensor activated.
Joker still using his heartbeat sensor down in towards archives, but there's no one from Elevate near that position. Elevate taking their time in gathering control off site here, but they still are yet to really pinch in towards bathroom. Cutie is that into piano? I think it is. Cutie, you are a mad lad, and it could well get him a kill onto Worthy. Surely not. It'd be absolutely disgusting. He gets some shots out. Worthy tagged up. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but Cutie is definitely being a nuisance at the moment.
That is a neat little angle, and honestly, I'm not sure I've actually seen that before. Oh, that frag grenade. Oh, could have been the end of Cutie, but that ADS catching it. And they're really pushing onto this position here, and he is going to get flushed out finally by the follow-up. Does give Elevate man advantage, and now they can really put a lot of control in through piano. C4 missing the mark as well means Digital's going to be able to open the wall while Worthy continues with vertical control. 30 seconds to go now, Guz. 4 versus 4.
Lisa will find his first pick of the map. Of course, one of the dangerous players on this roster. keep an eye on him late round. Worthy is above trying to flush out some of these positions as Elevate prepare for an execute. There's only 15 seconds left, and
15 seconds
this
to
could
go.
be a bit of a challenge. A smoke grenade goes out, Digital follows to plant behind the white van. In fact, he's gone pretty deep here, and they'll have the whites peek him. I've lost my words. Ipistol gets the whites, and it's a 2-on-2. God Legion now left in a
Operators, you have
1-on-2.
run out of time.
But Okami will protect those bombs, and yeah, I definitely lost my words. There was so much going on. Oh, wow.
Yep.
That was terrible. I apologize.
There was a lot going on at the end of that round. Something that Elevate could have done as they ran through is just shot that shield on yellow stairs. The Goyo shield. It was facing towards where they were planting. So if they popped that, they wouldn't have had to worry about the pulse trying to retake while that plant went down. Could have changed everything. Maybe in the frenzy, didn't realize that was possible. Now it's 1-1, Guz. Looking like it might be a close match.
Definitely looking that way. Of course, these teams heading into the start of the season, you would have thought they'd be quite evenly matched.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as
Current
they
standings
can.
not 100% reflective of that, but in saying that, they are still quite
Attackers have
close.
located a bomb.
I mean, Okami a third and Elevate in 6th, and they're trailing by 2 map wins. Still backing this to be quite a close encounter between these two.
Haven't seen Okami go back to that top floor yet either, so they're just going through their regular cycle of sites here. Seem like they're going to be holding
5
onto
seconds left
meeting
before
for vertical
insertion.
control in through to lobby. So I'm sure that's where Elevate's going to be focusing a lot more of their efforts, is clearing out this top floor, clearing meeting, clearing CO before they get a chance to plant. And that's actually something they struggled a lot with against Wildcard.
Worthy has the diffuser in hand. He's outside the main door alongside Red. In fact, that's a very early EMP. Maybe trying to clear some sort of projectile denial like an ADS. Worthy does cook a grenade. Might throw it all the way in towards Mango's position. Doesn't really hit the mark. Elevate will now
Attackers drop the diffuser.
try and get
Attackers
control from
recover
above.
the
It looks like
diffuser.
they will sweep from the eastern side of the map. Of course, that's admin office. And they'll be met by some members from Okami who are playing down towards the west on the other side of the map.
3 of them in admin here, so they are really going to be focusing on taking this meeting. He's putting a lot of pressure on it to clear it out. Red is now repelled up and towards the balcony as well. This will be the do and die section of the round here to Elevate. Okami haven't held onto that though. I believe it was Cutie playing around there. He's ended up rotating all the way through Spiral. Ipistyle is still up here in CO as the Doc, and he's got backup from Joker as well, holding onto Connector. There is still 2 players holding presence for Okami, but meeting at least itself is clear for Elevate to take.
Cutie has been downed at Spiral.
Attackers
Pickup
have
looking
recovered the
unlikely
diffuser.
at this stage of the round as
Nearby.
God Legion will use the first of his Lockerbie phone calls. Fast will eventually secure that frag. Fast has been downed in the meantime, but this pickup is looking a little bit more likely. There is a player, I think, maybe somewhere near benches
A
or
bomb has been
bathroom.
located.
Patiently, Worthy holds the angle and will wait for Vast to crawl around the corner. Probably a wise decision in the end, and now Elevate will find themselves with the man advantage 5-4.
Yeah, good patience from Jack Daddy there on the Legion, not getting a little too overzealous to try and finish off the kill there. Gonna get droned out. Still holding a pretty strong position, backed up by Ipistyle in this hallway. But Elevate do have control of lobby, and now a solid man advantage in 2 versus by a 2-man, sorry. With 30 seconds to go as well, this plan is going down, Guz.
So Digital will stick it inside of lobby. Red will find a pick, and it's now a 2v4 post plant for Okami, Ipistyle and Jackdad. It's looking very unlikely that diffuser planted down near the main door, and Elevate surely can just stand outside and wait for the sound cue. Vertical control has been gathered, and surely this is unwinnable. It's a nice pick MVP style, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He jumps out the window. He knows that he's not going to be able to win the round. And I mean, this has been a pretty solid start from Elevate, right? They're going to be 2-1 up. Not letting this one slip away. And it's been a pretty solid start.
I totally agree with that sentiment. I think the way that Elevate's been playing has been good Siege. They aren't doing anything desperate or over aggressive, and a lot of their teamwork and cohesion feels more on point this week than we've seen over the last couple of weeks especially. So I think good signs early, but early is the key word there. It's only 2-1, 3 rounds have played. There's a big night ahead of them. They've still got to finish off this map. They've still got another map ahead of them.
I mean, it definitely could be a big night, of course. These matches.
Amaru?
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a sec. What I was going to say is...
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine, it's fine. What I was going to say is, of course, being a best of 2 format, and there's no overtime, meaning that these nights for these players can go on for quite an extended period. And if they've, you know, been scrimming before this or aim training, whatever the case may be, these nights can turn pretty long. And it really turns to who can stay concentrated the longest. Of course, Amaru was picked during all that. And you can take that away, Raven. I'm sure you're dying to tell me all about how useful Amaru is going to be here.
Oh, quite the opposite, in fact. But no, I'm really excited to see what Vast has in store for us. He, on top of the fact he's actually been in quite good form in this match. I mean, he's 6-1 right now, personally. But Amaru is not something we've seen picked a lot of at all in ANZ. And I mean, even globally, the only one that stands out in my mind is I've seen Corey from Rogue pick Amaru. And I'm pretty sure he justified that as mainly just because he wanted to also bring the G8, because their IQ is bringing that. So I'm not sure exactly what Elevate might have here, whether there's a neat little strat or whether Fast is doing the same rationale. We're going to get to see that.
I mean, of course, in the upcoming update, Amaru is going to be getting a pretty significant buff. I could definitely see her becoming a part of some of these rush strategies or more aggressive playstyles. We'll have to wait and see when that comes out and when Amaru will be a little bit more viable. I mean, maybe Vast will prove here that Amaru doesn't need a buff if he pops off. We'll have to wait and see.
I'm feeling like what they're doing here
He's going to go up the hatch.
is, you think up the hatch?
No. Yeah,
I think either way, it's about quick entry to the plant, because one of the big things about attacking CO is that you just end up spending what feels like an eternity on those windows, and that is such a vulnerability. But now, look at this. Planter is on site straight away, and he's planting us. This is going to work. I feel like this is going to work. They have the cover. I am so excited this is working out.
Oh my goodness, the plant goes down. Now it's a 2-on-5 post plant. Actually, make that a 1-on-5 cutie. Left to clutch it up as Joker's down, and Elevate will take a flawless round off the back of one of the craziest Amaru plays I have ever seen in competitive. That is absolutely insane. Props to Elevate. I can't believe that worked out, but yeah, it was perfect. That's crazy.
I love it. That was great. That was definitely my favorite round that we've seen tonight so far. I'm just like, the way it worked was perfect. Like, actually was such a good use of Amaru. And the point that I was making before it all went down is, yeah, when you take a CO push, it's one thing to clear out yellow. You've got to clear out private, connector, have long control, just so you can repel in those windows. And that takes so much time. You can't take that lightly. If you repel in too early, if you've got diffuser, well, then it's going to get dropped and it's hard to recover. But this way, all they had to do was get control of downstairs, piano, public, and the bottom of yellow, and they just had to cover his planting situation. It was beautifully executed. I love it.
Big brain for sure. That was, wow. I don't think they're going to be able to try it again, because it's probably going to be on Okami's radar, but it did give them a nice healthy lead. 3-1 in fact, and bit of a demoralizing round there for Okami, who I assume know what happened. I think they did have a player, I think it was Mango's, right, on yellow stairs, and he almost white peaked it, but was shut down, I think, in the end.
5 seconds left.
Okami probably aware of how they lost that round, and Probably not feeling great about that. Ah, well, I'll move on. It is their map pick, so they'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean they have to be. But that was such a good point too. Like it's not just how entertaining and cool that round was. That is a little demoralizing for Okami because it was a flawless round on top of the fact that it was a cheeky little strat that worked. So that can really play into mindset. We'll have to move on. They get to play Garage again, which was their only successful round. I think this is where we're going to get to see whether Elevate have been working well with their adaptations and what they can change up to win it this time.
Definitely been a fascinating start to this map thus far.
Surveying for hostiles.
Intrigued to see where we'll head for the rest of it. Of course, if you are just joining us, Elevate are on the brink of not making the top 4 and not making the playoffs here for Six Masters. They need to win both of these maps this evening to stand a chance. A 1-1 draw will not cut it. 2-0 loss will not cut it. They need to win both of them. And so far, it's looking all right. They're definitely looking a lot stronger than they have in recent form. They just need to try and carry that on. Fast almost getting that early pick, but Cutie will scathe away, and that's half the round gone, Raven.
Style lurking here though. He's going to catch Worthy, but he's not actually. Worthy gets the gunfight. I thought for sure Worthy was looking at the ground, but that worked out beautifully. I think Red caught it on a drone. Great teamwork again from Elevate. And that's, I think, the biggest key here for me that I've seen in these 4 rounds is that Elevate's teamwork looks like it is just so much more switched on than it has been in about 3 weeks.
Under a minute left now, 5v4 in favor of Elevate. Digital is opening the garage. It's actually a player very close on the other side of that bridge. The epidemic charge will detonate. And that's Jack Daddy caught in a very vulnerable position from above and the breach. Surely Jack Daddy gets shut down here. If he goes big, that'll be massive for his team, but he is eventually taken off the board. Red with that long angle gets the kill, and now Elevate should be able to convert.
He's got something else to say about it. Digital is getting the plant down, so Elevate are going to be in a post-plant situation. It is stuck. And again, one of the most difficult post-plant recoveries is on this site. God Legion still on top of Spiral. Means that the retake is all up to Cutie. He's got 4 to find to save this round for Okami, but he's not going to do it. Elevate get round number 5. Guz, that's 3 in a row, and they are up 4-1.
A great start here for Elevate, and as I mentioned earlier, they need it. No room for error this late in the season. And this is looking like a much fresher Elevate to what we've seen previously. You mentioned this earlier, their teamwork and their synergy. Just looking like it's clicking a bit better than it has in the past few play days where they've struggled. I mean, they've lost both maps to Wildcard, both maps to the Knights as well. So it's looking like a turn of fortune at the moment. What? No. What?
I was just waiting to say. I felt like I just saw 4 Okami players get autoed. So
What?
I don't know. Let's see what this sticks.
Apparently top 4 is where all the pocket strats get tested, apparently. Oh no.
Yuppie style on the Janker. Let's see what he does with this. Whether there's an actual strat here or whether this was just an unfortunate mistake. We'll wait and see. But yeah, look, Elevate. Let's finish off or tie up that point there. They have been looking so much fresher, like you said, and that teamwork is looking more on point. So this is putting the pressure back onto Okami. We talked about it coming in, that there's going to be a lot of pressure on Elevate given the stakes on top of the fact of their expectations coming into Six Masters' first seed. But now it's Okami being the one in top 4. They're down in round count, and they need to be winning at least one of these maps.
Yeah, exactly. Their top 4 position is by no means secured. I mean, yes, they're in the top 4 now, but with results still pending for the rest of the week, their position is not guaranteed. Keep in mind that Okami will be playing later in the week. Of course, this is Super Week due to the reschedule, and that means they'll be playing Thursday night against Wildcard. But But I mean, Wildcard are first, and they are looking really strong and hard to beat at the moment. So if there's any position at this stage in the season where Okami have a good opportunity to get points, it is here against Elevate. But so far, their map pick is not really proving that. What is it? What is it? I can't. You can commentate. I don't know what to say. It's all yours, bro. Explain this. Analyze these positions for me, please.
I mean, I'm still not sure whether this was intentional or not. I like the sentiment though. I mean, that's a great angle to be holding as a Tachanka, but it's also pretty easy to shut down. Like, there's a couple of angles that he could easily get shot from there, and yeah, we'll see whether it works. God Legion is on fire with this Dokkaebi. Maybe this has really been his calling. It's a 5 versus 2, guys. It's only been a minute. Elevate have entered admin. They've taken 3 with them. One of the remaining is Ipistyle here, just sitting on his turret. So it's got to have a big impact.
Look, the round's not over till Tachanka is dead. Let's be honest. Ipistyle has a pretty strong primary. The 9x is still pretty damn good. And he has a 3 armor, so he can take a little bit more punishment. He's going to get aggressive over towards the meeting room door, and no, he'll be deleted. And Mango's now left in a 1-on-5. This round has just been interesting, is the best way to describe it, isn't it? There we go. Okami will be shut down. Elevate with a flawless round. And I really don't know what just happened. Okami, please explain those picks for me, because I'm very lost.
Yeah, that was that's one for the interview, that's for sure. But hey, Elevate 5-1 half, guys, on Okami's map pick. They are coming out full steam ahead here, which is exactly what they needed to do. And you have to start questioning, I guess, the mindset of Okami, because they're 2 rounds away from losing the map. 1 round loss means they have to force overtime. So they're really in the sink here.
Elevate 1 round away from match point as they try and seal the deal here on Okami's map pick.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
So far, so good for Elevate, and I mean, looking like the first seeded team at the moment. They're looking strong. It's a real shame for them that the rest of the season fell apart a little bit at the end, and they found themselves in this compromised position. Again, not all hope is lost, but the chances of them making the playoffs are super thin and non-existent if they drop a map this evening.
10 seconds remaining.
It was actually the defense half, I believe, that Elevate
5 seconds.
struggled more so on against Wildcard. So this is like another checkpoint, you could say, in terms of how they've been able to bounce back and what they've adapted with. What a way to do it, because I mean, if they win this round, they will be on match point. Top floor. Not a dramatic hold here. I mean, Vast is the only one putting pressure in admin. Worthy all the way down on the ground floor. He's going to get some intel as that pulse. See how Okami try and attack this. They're pretty spread out at the moment, but it looks like they're leaning towards more of an admin push.
An admin take here for Okami. Vast is there to contest, Red to support. Worthy, as you mentioned, is below and will be able to feed some information. These players repelling will be in range of that heartbeat sensor, but in saying that, Worthy has now rotated up spiral and may try and aggress over towards Visa. Talk about aggressing, God Legion will be shut down by Joker, and that's a bit of a shame because God Legion has had quite a good map so far.
Yeah, and I was putting some pressure on him at the start, saying that he hasn't really shown up for Elevate that much in Six Masters. So far, he has helped a lot. Vast is under a tremendous amount of pressure in admin here, though. He just needs to be able to hold out as long as possible. He's essentially stuck. So his teammates need to be able to help him out of this corner. He somehow eats that grenade, only losing about 5 or 10 HP. That means Okami are going to have to continuously drone him out, use utility. At this stage, even if he dies, he's wasted half the round and so much utility here.
Okami really need to just bait someone with the repel or do something, but Worthy will get a pick. Itby style has just been sent to heaven. Insane pick from him, and now they are pressuring him. They have repelled in. C4 goes out fast, finally taken down. The C4 doesn't find its target. Now Elevate are left in a 3-on-3 as Cootie actually was down, but he will be picked up.
But just under a minute to go means that Okami really have the hardest part of this push ahead of them, and that's actually working sight. So they're able to get a plant down. Diffuser's outside. Hasn't been picked up by anybody yet, so they're not leaving themselves much of time or opportunity here to be able to get it done. Mango does collect.
A bomb has been located.
Like he's heading towards the balcony, so still looking to take meeting, but there is a smoke in there. I'm not sure Digital's even used any of his gas grenades.
Don't know how Jack Daddy won that, but he did. Elevate left in a 2-on-4, but I mean, they still could win it. Not much time, a lot of utility. Oh, that's not great though. Digital is left all alone. He gets the first pick and he gets the second onto Joker. 15 seconds on the board that he needs to hold out. His position should be known to the attackers. The plant could potentially go down, but maybe they're going to try and frag it. No, they think better of it and will back out towards B. Cutie's low on HP. If Digital quick picks this, might be able to net the kill. Or Cutie actually falls off the position. That's very, very risky. He could well win the round, but the refrag is there from Okami. Mangoes with the final pick will secure the round.
It's a good effort from Digital there in the end. And look, it was a good attack as well from Okami, albeit I was a bit worried for them. They weren't leaving themselves much time. They just managed to find those picks to make it that touch more comfortable. They start to fight back. They've still got a 3-round deficit ahead of them here. Elevate are going to rotate onto Garage and not reattempt that just yet.
Another speed bump for Elevate to get over. Only lost the 1 round in the first half and 1 so far in the second. So if form continues, they will be able to bounce back.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being
I think the most surprising thing for me so far in this map is simply the fact that it is Okami's pick. I mean, it definitely doesn't feel like Elevate are uncomfortable at all. In fact, it appears more so as if Okami are feeling a little bit uneasy in the way that Elevate are controlling the map for the most part. And it's up to Elevate to really try to put that pressure back on Okami once again.
And we'll see what Elevate do for their hold. They've actually reinforced the public bathroom hatch. So that means they're not probably
5 seconds left.
playing as hard in public bathroom as you would see some other teams, because what you do is you leave the hatch open. So it's the safe rotate out once that pressure's on. Maybe they're going to be extending their roam to the top floor, and maybe they'll be doing a turtle strap.
Could well be the case. In fact, Red is maybe even looking like he's going to be bandit tricking the wall, and I mean, that's something you don't see a whole lot of anymore in comp. There's a lot of counters to that. Seems like Red is actually just pre-placed and will leave them on the wall. One on the left hasn't been electrified though. I mean, so far, Okami not really putting any pressure on the garage. Mangoes has spawned there, so may go for it late, but Worthy could be in a position to peek that if he is a little bit overzealous. Really not a whole lot happening a minute into the round, and Okami need to start gathering some more control closer towards the site.
Yes, it has been an extended roam here. It was God Legion and Worthy playing on that top floor. Worthy is still there actually at the top of yellow. God Legion dropped down. Managed to take a couple of drones with him. Army are in pursuit now on top floor as Worthy's also dropped down. Jack Daddy waiting in public bathroom for God Legion, takes him out. Worthy's going to try and maybe even retake that. No, he's going to go back to side. He could get caught, but not to be. Those shots not hitting the target. 4 versus 5. Half the round still to go here.
Again, Elevate finding themselves like they did in the last round at the man disadvantage. They have withered down quite a bit of time, but that last round proved that that may not be enough. Jack Daddy is above, trying to find a pick, or at least holding the rotate behind White Van. There is in fact a player almost directly below him in Digital. Quite exposed. I think Digital is aware of that position. Jack Daddy crosses as Joker gets a red, and now Elevate are under the pump with a minute to go.
That rotate looks like it might have had some issues as well. C4 coming out, not hitting the target either. Wait, not having greatest luck with these C4s, and actually all of a sudden Okami have just fragged out. All up to digital yet again, Guz. He's not going to find it though. LFO, Okami will take that round. They're 2 on the hot now, so this is maybe comeback looking.
Oh, hey, Okami may not be called LFO, but they are technically LFO because they are looking for an organization. So if you're an org owner out there, pick them up because they're pretty good. And I mean, those last 2 rounds
I'll
have
stop
been
calling them.
pretty good.
I'll stop
What
calling
were
them
you gonna
LFO if they get picked up, so please do it.
The last couple of rounds from Elevate just crumbled, really. It's felt like they've been in decent positions to gather these rounds, and then out of nowhere, giving away pretty easy picks. And Okami have really been excelling on those and closing out these rounds. A little bit dangerous for Elevate at the moment. Really be wanting to try and get a match point and try and put the pressure back on their opponents.
And that's the thing, pressure. We said it was the key word, and every round that Okami gets puts pressure back onto Elevate, and tenfold at that, because they shot out to that 5-1 lead. They would have been feeling fantastic, and now it's starting to build back up. And I think that's even harder to break momentum of. This is a pretty dangerous round, I think. If Okami get this one, that means they're only 1 round behind Elevate, and Elevate are that much closer to throwing that 5-1 lead.
Of course, like, Elevate don't want to throw the lead, and they also don't want to throw the map if they lose. Pretty much can't make the playoffs. They can't make the top 4. Should be devastating for them. They are the first seeded team heading into this. They finished 2nd in Pro League Season 11. They narrowly missed the Pro League Season 10 finals. They really want to make it, but unfortunately for them, the last couple of playdays haven't gone their way, and I mean, these last couple of rounds haven't either. It's really time for them to step up here and get this to match point.
And all teams face slumps at some stage, and you never get to choose when it hits, and it's unfortunate for them, it hit at a pretty critical point. Pretty high expectations on them, and starting to see more of what you would expect from Elevate, but God Legion is being really shut down so far on these defenses. Digital finally hits a C4 though, that evens it out. Jack Daddy off the board. Worthy trying to contest it long, not getting any refrag there, but now half the round delayed at least by this roam. Is that Okami now going to start putting pressure vertically? Elevate have to dig deep here and try and save this round.
Worthy going for a very risky run out. Doesn't find a pick over towards that south balcony. Will now need to retreat towards yellow. He needs to be careful that there isn't a player waiting for him. Fortunately for him, there isn't, and he can actually just go all the way back where he was originally. So no harm, no foul there for Worthy.
He has managed to actually retake up into private. He's wanting to get some picks here. Red gets tagged on the drop from CO. That means that Worthy is the only one left up in this vertical position. Almost pre-fires into that position. Sees somebody at long, decides not to repeat that. He's still hanging around here. And that's going to be just pressure for Okami until they do manage to shut him down.
Oh, the wide peak will eventually take down Ippy Style, who is really struggling on these opening picks so far. Worthy gets a second onto Cutie. Can he find a third? He almost does, but will finally be taken down. Joker will be able to finish him off, leaving it in a 2-on-3. Elevate with the best chance to win a round on this second half, but Mango's, he has something to say about it. Joker gets his triple, and again, Elevator letting these rounds slide. Digital left in yet another clutch, and he can't do it. Okami will take 3 rounds straight on the attack, and this is starting to crumble apart for Elevate.
It is, and I thought they were almost going to bring that round back, but Okami just digging deep and getting these picks when they matter. Yeah, it's Elevate now, up against the wall. That's 3 sites that they have lost. Console, Garage, Lobby. Now they're back here at Console. have they figured out what they need to fix? Because it was a dramatic loss last time. I mean, Digital did bring it back to essentially a 1v1, but I think he had to find at least 3 to get to that point. It was a 4v1 when Plant went down. So definitely not going to be easy for them, that is for sure.
3 rounds straight for the attack. Okami really wanting to assert their dominance, try and
locate and defuse as many bombs as they
somewhat
can.
solidify their position in the top 4, but of course in doing so, they'll subsequently knock out Elevate, who can't afford to drop a map. I mean, pressure, we keep talking about it, it keeps mounting. 3 rounds that, on face value, without being able to deeply analyze them or go back to watching them, on surface value, they look like throws. Most of those rounds, those last 3 rounds, looked pretty in favor of Elevate for the most part. And late round, it's starting to fall apart a little bit,
10 seconds left before insertion.
giving off the vibes of the last few playdays where it just hasn't quite gone their way.
5 seconds left.
Need to try and correct that late round game.
Attackers'
Could well
objective
find
is to locate a bomb and
Okami
defuse it.
on match point, which we definitely would not have expected.
And to be fair, Okami are pretty well known for a somewhat relentless attack style. I still remember when they took it to Fnatic in Pro League Season 11. Magnet said in the interview that just Okami's attacks were hard for them to handle. That's just always rung true, and it's been the same in Six Masters. So it really could just be that Elevate are just struggling to deal with that attack style. It's a little bit different to a lot of teams, but they have to adapt. They have to be able to win these rounds. I mean, they are by no means safe right now. 1 round will get them to overtime at least, so they get a chance to be back on the attack, but they shouldn't be relying on anything like that.
Does look like Okami is shaping for a yellow take. Basically meaning that Vice set up inside of admin will be null and void. Those 2 ADS devices may not have a big impact on how this round plays out. That utility may have been better utilized over towards yellow, for example, which I'm sure Okami will be trying to flush out. Cutie is there ready to throw out a grenade. Well, my magnets being
A bomb
being
is
spent
located.
as Cutie will book that grenade, the flash as well, but Digital does get away. And they are wasting quite a bit of time. Halfway point of the round has now been eclipsed.
A really critical part of being a smoke player on this site is that you have to be able to delay the yellow stairs take and this private bathroom take as long as possible. If you can't burn off at least 2 minutes, then it starts to become too comfortable for the attack with that control. Digital gets tagged on the rotate through to yellow from that skylight. He's now expelled all his gas canisters. That means that Okami have their opening. He can't delay with his smoke canisters anymore. Actually, he has 1. My bad. So this is looking good for Elevate. I mean, they've still got 5 up here with
Drop the bomb
still
diffuser.
50 seconds to go. There's a trade happening offside here, guys, but little time left.
So many of these rounds have looked good, but Elevate have fallen at that final hurdle. On this occasion, though, it is a 3-on-3. Red will give it now in favor of Okami. Jack Daddy left in a 1 versus 3 as Ip style has been dropped. 2 members from Elevate, Worthy and Red respectively, both very low on HP. Jack Daddy will take them out with a single bullet from his primary. Here's a play on the other side of this wall. Will pre-fire it, doesn't quite find the pick. Jack Daddy's position has been revealed. Oh, he sees the gun to the right, but can't find the angle, and he gets aggressive. That's a shot onto Con.
10 seconds remaining.
Potentially winnable here. Surely Elevate can just play time. Jack Daddy frantically running around trying to find this pick. He knows there's a player to his right and won't be able to hit the shot. Elevate will finally win a defense, and they will head themselves to match point.
Well, that was a bit scary, guys, because I mean, 2 of those Elevate players were tagged pretty low. I mean, one of them was sneeze on and dead. So that definitely was possible for Jack Dad. Not to be, that's the against the green rounds that Elevate needed. So they can force overtime at least, but they've got a 2-round gap. They're on match point. It does stack some pressure back on the side of Okami, and now they're going to be playing lobby.
Lobby press room was attempted in Elevate's third defense this half, and of course they did lose it. It was another close one where they faltered in the last 30 seconds, or that execute phase of the round. Question is,
Attackers
how
need to
will they
locate and
change
defuse as many bombs as they can.
their setup? How will they change their
Attackers
playstyle
discover
to
the
counter
location of a bomb.
that late round aggression that Okami consistently is bringing to the table?
Is the key. Last time they held lobby, came down to a 2v1. Remember, it was Digital again, left in that final situation. It's fragged out in public. See how they can adjust here. And of course, you have to talk about adjustment in both directions. Okami have now seen their hold for lobby press. This is the second time that they're defending it.
5 seconds
So
left
Okami
before
themselves can
insertion.
make adjustments to make their attack a little bit more swift or a little cleaner.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Even trickier for Elevate moving forward. See how they can bounce back.
I think one thing to flag is his style. Currently only on the 6 frags, which I mean in comparison to the rest of his team, isn't the worst. But a player of his caliber and a player of his form so far in this season, you would be expecting him to step up a little bit more. Maybe just providing a little bit more aggression early round. He is quite formidable on the entry on most occasions, but it's been a little bit of a quieter night so far from him. Elevate doing a decent job in shutting him down so far, and if they can keep that up, they will only strengthen their chances of taking the map.
A lot of Okami's victories do come on the back of big matches from Epi style, so it's usually one red flag for them if he's struggling. Not to say that the others can't frag out, but it just usually is a key indicator. Minute down here, and there's some good pressure around meeting now, and this is where this round could be won or lost. If Okami are able to take this quick succession, then there's a lot of pressure on Elevate to be able to hold out for the rest of the round.
God Legion in a key position here. Of course, they're still fighting above the objective if this style. With a breaching charge, gets aggressive, trying to clear the table, but it actually will survive. God Legion droned out once again. Flash is raining out and he avoids it. Manages to rotate down the hatch. So he will just be wasting more and more time.
Ooh, the bullet holes from Worthy. He decides not to hard hold that though, maybe thinking he got droned out or just not wanting to take the risk. They still have a lot of pressure here. It's not like meeting is going to be totally free for Okami to take. That shield at long really facilitates that. Shots coming out from the balcony towards Worthy means he's not going to hang out near that connector wall too much longer. That's too dangerous. Okami are starting to really get the pressure onto Elevate. They still have so much control though, and that's what's critical. Okami are going to have to be able to get a plant down somewhere in lobby if they aren't able to take full vertical control. As Worthy gets downed though, that might be the opening they need.
Great shot from Cutie there on the balcony. Keep in mind, Mangoes has the diffuser in hand and he's all the way outside to the south. So they might be preparing for a lobby plant near the double doors. Fast and Red in a position to potentially cover that. Digital as well, still playing below, could gather intel. God Legion also at the basement. A lot of peculiar positions being held here by both teams as they try and convert the round.
And Mangoes is either just going to have to plant short or go deep, and go deep he does. He's pushing ball right up to the desk, but he gets shot from the connector stairs. Cutie manages to save him, but Fast has gone big here. He's going to have to hold and get some picks, but he doesn't. Cutie gets that one. Goes towards Diffuser. It's all up to Red to deny, but Jack Dad shuts him down. Okami bring it back, guys. 1 round away from OT.
Once again, Elevate not being able to hold out that last 15 to 20 seconds, and Okami with their aggression will shut them down. This will be the final round of regulation. 2 results could ensue. 1, Elevate take the map 7-5, or we will head to overtime. It's definitely been a very close map so far. Elevate is going to re-attempt lobby. Again, what are they going to bring to the table to change it up? Because they've lost it twice now. And on both occasions, Okami have been pretty confident in that execute phase.
Yeah, quite a dramatic operator lineup change here. They were initially baiting what looked like a garage hold. They had the bandit there and the
Attackers
mirror.
need to locate
So
and
Okami
defuse
probably looked at that and thought they're going garage. But now they've 6 picks off the bandit to the vigil. So they didn't have that previously. Worthy was also
located
playing
by
castle.
attackers.
Vast didn't have the mirror. So this is a dramatic strategy change. See whether it works out here. There are some similarities though. That shielded long, so probably looking to hold that solid vertical control still.
Wonder where those mirrors are going to be placed from Vast. Will they be used above to
10 seconds left before
help find some
insertion.
picks? It looks like the first will. So that one's on the bathroom wall facing
5
connector.
seconds to go.
Calibrating air
So
compressor.
there's one in his pocket though.
All set.
Attackers are moving.
Use
to
that one a
defuse
little
the
bit
bomb.
closer to site. Wonder how Okami are going to try to counter this. Looks like it'll be another soft one. Same wall that we actually saw Okami themselves on their defense utilize when defending below.
Yeah, similarity there. Different strats slightly. We're going to come down to Okami's droning, how they read into this and how they try and adapt to it. Good intel again from Digital. He sees that Okami are heavily pushing admin side, as you do if you're trying to take across towards meeting. 4 players there. Everyone is over on printer window. Very one-dimensional at this stage, but QD is rotating probably to balcony to put that heavy pressure in towards meeting, which we saw them do in the previous round.
God Legion in a peculiar position inside of Towers. There's a fair chance he's going to be a struggle to drone out. On the topic of intel, Digital's continuing to play below on Pulse and knows exactly where Mango's is. Of course, is the attacker holding the diffuser. Army very much taking their time, almost at the halfway point. Admin control has been gathered, but not much more outside of that.
I think they've identified that God Legion is playing tellers, and they've surrounded his rotate out, but he hasn't moved just yet, which means that it's delayed a lot of their time, and now they have to just ignore it because they're spending too long on it, and they haven't obtained this vertical control and meeting that they wanted, and also had around this stage in the previous round. So the bait's working well from God Legion. It's 5 versus 5 still as well, which works in favor of the defense.
Just over a minute left on the board. A mirror will be popped. That's the one on the bathroom wall. Worthy uses that cue to back down yellow stairs. If his style could well find a pick or two below. There's one cafeteria, one to his bottom left. He can't find either just yet. Eventually will just find the head of Digital. This second player gets very aggressive. Vast manages to win that gunfight, and now it's a 4-on-4.
Nice little quick peek from Vast there. Maybe a little too aggressive from Red though. That's the smoke off the board. That's a lot of denial that now Okami don't have to deal with. 30 seconds. Mango's at the door, ready to run in and plant. He's just got wire in his way if he goes deep. God Legion gets Cutie, making it a 3 versus 3, guys. 20 seconds. This could come down to the wire.
A 2-on-3. Elevate at the man disadvantage, looking to try and close out this map. But Jack Daddy shuts down Worthy, and now Vast needs to hold a 1-on-3. He gets the C4 kill. That's the diffuser down, but Okami will immediately pick it back up once again. The question is, does he have vertical? He has the intel, but Joker's almost about to stick it. Will he get it in time? No! The diffuser will be stuck. 45 seconds on that counter diffuse time. Vast forced to drop the hatch. Very difficult position to retake, and the mirror will be used against the mirror herself, and we are going to overtime.
Oh, how close was Vast to getting that retake? I mean, if he'd probably just pulled out his Vector instead of the secondary shotgun after opening the hole, maybe in the nick of time he would have had that kill. Hindsight is 2020, but we've got overtime, guys, in what we've hyped up to be the biggest series of the night, and could potentially be the biggest series of the week. Who knows what we're in store for, but right now it is really living up to expectations.
10 seconds.
Such a great C4 there from Vast, but yeah, maybe just needs to get back himself with the Vector in the end. Either way though, we are in overtime, and we will see Okami now on the defense. Console meeting will be their first site of choice. They defended it quite a few times in that first half, and
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Weren't the most successful. Let's put it that way. Elevate. We're 5-1 up at the end of the first half and have let this lead slip away. Pressure well and truly on Elevate's shoulders.
But they will have the 2 rounds of attack in overtime. So we've seen 2 5-1 halves of attack here. 10 attack rounds won in the map. I mean that Elevate, in theory, based on these stats, have the advantage going into OT. See whether it actually plays out that way. And just looking at the scoreboard here, 3 Elevate players on double digits, Fast, Digital, and Worthy. We talked about God Legion having a good start. I don't think he's had a kill since then. We might have caster cursed him there, Guz.
F's in the chat for God Legion. Maybe it's just the rest of his team have been so good that he's just been sitting back,
That's probably
vibing out. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. This is interesting. Mango's on Warden playing at Yellow Stairs, a position that is frequently played, but not really frequented by a Warden. Typically, it's a smoke or maybe even a mute. Mango's does have the shotgun, I believe. So it's going to be quite fascinating, I guess, to see if he can hold this as effectively with that Warden.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably to counter. Does a clear utility dump that always happens on Yellow. But usually it's frag grenades and bullets that's actually what ends the person playing there. So Warden doesn't really counter that. It will, though, if the Elevate strat is to flash and push, or smoke and push, which isn't likely. So we'll see whether it actually works out for him or not. Vast on this Montaigne is also a very peculiar pick. We haven't seen Elevate play much Montaigne at all. It's Vast, in fact, that's on it.
Mango's tries to get quite aggressive. Sees a Montaigne in front of him and thinks, well, there's not a whole lot I can do about this at the moment. Of course, because he's not playing smoke. Oh, Montaigne is being hit from somewhere as Jack Daddy finds red. Oh, that's some aggression from Vast. Mango's doesn't find the pick, though. Will try to get aggressive on him again as Gold Legion finds Jack Daddy, and this is a very awkward gunfight over towards Yellow Stairs. The victor of that could well take the round, but now Vast is being pinched below, and his strategy from Elevate is starting to fall apart a little bit.
Yeah, it is just stalling them out a bit. And I mean, they aren't a team that seems to play with a lot of Montaigne. So maybe they don't feel as accustomed on how to approach attacks with one less person having a competent gun to hard push. Vast can push aggressively all he likes up here, but this Warden can just hold out. So someone needs to be able to take this pick. Vast trying his luck at RNG on the hip fire, but not going to work. That frag grenade will work though. Warden flies over the top of Montaigne. It's a beautiful refrag. 35 seconds to go. 3 versus 2 in favor of Elevate.
They have the man advantage, and Worthy will send out another nade, forcing that defender inside of bathroom. It's Joker, and he will be shut down, leaving it up to Ippy Style. It's been a little bit of a quiet map for him so far this evening. Now he needs to find 3. That's the first onto Worthy. Elevate need to try and get this plant down. They need to be very mindful that they don't get floor banged. Not sure if they have the intel. They might not. No intel gatherers really on the side of Okami, and Ippy will need to try and gun them down. Digital goes for the plant. God Legion to cover. Makes his way through Spiral and finds the first. It's now a 1-on-1. Digital on the rappel. I wouldn't put it past Ippy to just jump out here and go for the frag. He basically is forced to. He's going to back himself, surely, as he waits. He goes for the jump out. Will he hit the shot? He does. And now he needs to make his way up Yellow and get the counter defuse. He sees the Claymore, and surely this round will be his. He's going to run up these stairs as fast as he possibly can. He needs 7 seconds to counter defuse the bomb, and Raven is going to do it. Ippy Style comes up clutch there for Okami, and they will have the lead for the rest of overtime.
Gave himself about 5 seconds to spare there. Unfortunate for Elevate, but really well played by him to take the jump out. That puts Okami on match point. That's not something that we've seen at all on this map. And now all that pressure onto Elevate, they have to hold their defense, which they only did once successfully on their defense half.
That was such a good play from Ippy Style at the end there. I criticized him for maybe being a little bit quiet tonight, but he stepped up when it counted, found all 3, and they were All great picks. That wide swing there onto God Legion was deadly, and then
Predators approaching a kill zone.
that composure on the final kill was fantastic. Really what Okami needed. And as you mentioned, they are on match point for the first time, and I don't think Elevate have been under this much pressure for the entire season. They are one
Attackers
round
need to
away
locate
from
and defuse
not
bombs.
making the playoffs. They were the first seeded team heading into this tournament. And if they lose this map, all of the season's hard work will go down the drain.
Just winding it back to Ippy style as well. I just loved that before his jump out, it was almost like you could visually see. He just paused, took a breath, composed himself, and then just backed it. And I think that's really cool to see. So take note about how to clutch around. As you said, it's a solid point as well, guys, about that this is 100% the most pressure Elevate have been and probably will ever be under in Six Masters 2020. This round is potentially their season.
Of course, if they win the round, we'll go all the way to the final round of overtime. But the trend was that it would be attacker-sided. If Okami do follow that trend that was established in regulation, then Elevate will be sent home packing. Incredibly high stakes for Elevate. None of them wanting to give away this first pick. Don't want to try and give Okami any sort of confidence heading
Attackers have
into
located a
this
bomb.
round.
Yeah, they really need to keep all their players up because that's really what's come back against them. It's putting so much pressure on the final players. Digital in particular has been the poor player that's had to just deal with
A bomb
the
has been
immense
located.
amount of pressure from Okami's attacks in the later stages of the round. Need these fraggers, these roamers to be able to step up. Vast has already been tagged up pretty heavy in engagement in that first minute.
Both teams playing quite passively at the moment. Again, not wanting to give that early pick. Vast and Digital have both been lit up pretty identical amount. Worthy holding this printer. Repel and loses. Wow, Joker gets the first pick. He should not have won that gunfight, but he has. Now Okami have that man advantage.
They do, Worthy, yeah. He was just stuck in that corner. Maybe just a little too long. I mean, almost half the round burned out. They hadn't put as much pressure on him. Might have been able to rotate, but either way, he's lost. You still see Ippy lurking around on this bottom floor. Of course, he is a dangerous player at any stage of the round.
The attacker's bomb
Coming up
diffuser has
spiral.
been dropped.
It's looking like Okami have got the pressure they need around meeting. It's essentially surrounded. Meeting balcony, admin, spiral. It's looking like a good setup from Okami on this attack.
40 seconds on the board. Elevate season on a knife's edge here. They cannot afford to lose this round, but Cutie gets one more pick for
Attackers will
his
cover
team,
the
and
defuse.
Elevate desperately need to find one back. It's not looking good. Here is Jack Daddy finds one as well, and surely Okami will close out this map. Elevate, they need to win this map. They cannot afford to lose it, and as Fast tries to go big, he's shut down. Now it's Red left in a 1 versus 4, but Okami will close out the map. Elevate, their season is done. Okami bring back the match point that was against them. What a great performance.
Really was. They brought that back beautifully, and it was a very attacker affair on Consulate here, seeing 2 5-1 halves. But in the end, it was Okami that brought it together in OT.
Man, Consulate is a cursed map for Elevate. I mean, reflecting back to Season 10, that's when they unfortunately missed on the APAC Finals as well. It's just a map that, for whatever reason, isn't really going their way. And unfortunately, it's looking very unlikely now that they'll make the playoffs, which is heartbreaking. They were the first seed heading into this season. They had a great start, but it really just fell away.
Yeah, it really did. Unfortunate for them. But they've still got another map to play, and they can still be the nail in the coffin for Okami, because let's bring it to Okami now. They have the pressure of needing to win this next map on top of the next 2 maps on Thursday. And so Elevate can be the thorn in their side. If Elevate take the next map, well, then Okami's chances of making playoffs start to be on the knife's edge.
And I mean, I'm sure Elevate are not thinking about this at the moment, but they still have their own pride on the line. They also have prize money on the line, I'm pretty sure as well, the distribution. They want to finish as high as possible to win some money, but I guess that's not going to make up for the fact that they haven't made the playoffs. That's going to hurt.
Absolutely. And what's extra frustrating for them, I would imagine, is that tonight they played really good Siege. I mean, Okami are a strong opponent, and they took them right to the line on Okami's map pick at that. And they would be thinking to themselves, why couldn't we have just summoned this in the last 2 weeks? Because you would have to think, given the form they produced tonight, maybe the last couple of weeks could have had some different results.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the turning point sort of in that match. And I mean, it's hard to really pick our turning point. It was really just when the halves switched. It was so attacker-sided. And the one round that really cost them was that 1v3 from Ippy Style. They had the round in the bag, and unfortunately, they just lost it. Ippy Style, he was quiet, but my roasting maybe activated him. I don't know, because that was massive, and ultimately it got them over the line.
It did. And I think you're right. And I'm sure when we do the Elevate interview later, that's probably going to come up. And that's the kind of thing that can haunt you as a team, as a player. I think it was Digital that was the one left in the 1v1 situation. He's going to think about that while he tries to sleep tonight and probably for the next few weeks. And that's a terrible feeling.
Well, we still do have one map this evening. On the other side of the break, it'll be Coastline. We'll see you then.
Attackers are activating the diffuser. Bomb. Seconds left.
Loading the next.
10 seconds. Attackers bomb diffuser active. Attackers are activating the bomb diffuser.
Please hold. Your call is very important to us. All operators are busy at this time.
Well, just like that, LFO came out of nowhere and managed to take Consulate. Unfortunately, essentially knocking Elevate out of the playoffs contention. I'm Guz, Raven alongside. I hope I pointed the right way there. I can't see, but either way, that was a pretty disappointing performance for Elevate.
Yeah, it was. I mean, to be honest though, they played quite well, especially considering how they've been playing. Just the cards didn't fall their way. In this instance, Okami did manage to close that out. So we will be moving on to map 2 there. That was only the first map, which is going to be Coastline. And I was just looking at map statistics here. And between the two, we've only seen it played once, the entire 6 Masters. And that was against Ferox. That was Okami against Ferox. And they lost 6-8. Now this is actually Elevate's map pick. So I'm quite excited to see what they're going to bring out on it.
Yeah, I'm really excited as well. I think the fact that Elevate don't really have a whole lot to lose now, coupled with the fact that it is their map pick, we could see them just full, like, super aggressive. Coastline really encourages that sort of play style, so they could come out of the gates really strong here. Try and make a point, because as we sort of mentioned off broadcast that you brought up, Okami's chances could still be hindered here a little bit if Elevate take this second map.
Yeah, because Okami have to think about their head-to-heads, who could equal points with them. If they're unable to maximize their points now, their last opponent is Wildcard. So, I mean, that is by no means a walk in the park.
Well, I'm pretty sure Elevate did favor, or were the winners in the poll vote. Let's have a quick recap and see how many Elevate fans have been, unfortunately, let down so far. And yeah, 64%. I mean, I'm still holding on to that draw, 8%. I think in my snowball predictions, I actually did, and I was the only one that did Okami 2-0. So, I mean, maybe I'm just going to back Okami going into this one, so my predictions are right. Because that means I'll edge out you and Dev as well, I think. So this is a big game for me.
Yeah.
Big game.
But you mentioned it, so now you've cursed yourself. It's
Yeah, I
definitely
have.
going to be a draw.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Look, I think this map is going to be really hard to call because we haven't seen a whole lot from Okami on it. Ferox are a pretty good Coastline team, so fair enough that they actually ended up losing to them on the map. We haven't seen Elevate play Coastline. It feels like a long time. Probably back in Pro League Season 11. I didn't even run stats back that far. I just have them for 6 Masters. So this could be a real pocket pick surprise here against Okami.
Coastline. It is sure to be a barn burner. It's Elevate taking on Okami, the second map in tonight's best of 2. Okami still battling to stay in the top 4. Let's see how it plays out.
I have Okami starting on attack as well, which is actually what we've seen as the more favored side on Coastline. And tonight, I mean, that was the case on Consulate. So Hot to Trot on attack. They will get the first go. Elevate have the first ban here. You never see too much dramatic bans coming out on Coastline. Dockerby is a strange ban. I mean, Jack Dad did play a lot of it. Maybe that's what they felt was a big issue for them on defense.
Well, I mean, potentially, if you are just joining us on the last map of Consulate, Okami were incredibly aggressive late round, and Elevate really struggled to shut that down. So maybe banning out Dockerby will assist with that. Ying as well, often utilized late round, or at least utility clearing throughout. And she as well will be taken off the board.
Was utilized pretty well by Vast. Expect to see company to mirror, probably the Echo of the Maestro. A lot of intel denial is usually the plan for defense bans on Coastline. Runouts galore is Coastline, usually for aggressive teams like Okami. Goyo, in fact, is the ban from Elevate. There was something else that Okami used quite a bit of on their defenses on Consulate. And it is a pain to clear a lot of that utility, so that does help the attack just a touch.
I was kind of expecting maybe a buck ban or even a sledge ban on this map to try and shut down some of that aggressive vertical play, which I'm expecting these teams will adopt, but again, we'll have to wait and see. Blue Bar Sunrise will be picked first here from Elevate. Quite interesting, a very late switch there onto the Womega combo as well. Going to make it really difficult for Okami to clear some of this utility.
It will Blue Bar Sunrise, the first site we're going to see chosen by Elevate. Becoming a popular bomb site indeed. Vast on the dock, so looking like they're going to be holding some long angles here. Not sure exactly whereabouts that might play out. how they implement this strat. And again, we're going to be really watching closely how Elevate are playing this map. To remind you of the stakes, Okami are still fighting for the top 4 spot, and by not winning this map, they heavily jeopardize that.
Yeah, well, I mean, heading into tonight, Okami were 3rd in the standings. They were one map win ahead of the Knights and only 2 ahead of both Ferox and Elevate. And after tonight, that'll also be LFO.
10 seconds left.
Well, actually, no, it won't be because Okami just won that map. So scrap what I just said there. LFO is still quite a bit behind. But yeah, I mean, if Okami do lose this map,
Must locate and
really
defuse
will
the
put
bomb.
themselves under
Defender
pressure.
has left
Oh,
the
this is a
designated
spawn pick.
safe zone. Defender
Fast,
exposed.
misses the shots, but Itby style hits his mark, and God Legion will be taken down, and that's Legion off the board. Of course, those goo mines regenerate over the course of the round, and unfortunately, when you're dead, you can't come back to life and use them.
Very aggressive start to the round here from Elevate. The double spawn peak, 2 different ends of the map. One didn't work out, one survived. So again, Army fighting hard for their chances to stay in playoff contention. Looking to take VIP control, and Penthouse gives them a chance to be able to take good vertical control in towards Hookah and Billiards as well, which there is a player playing in at the moment. Something they'll have to deal with. And Joker deals with Vast, giving them a really early strong man advantage right now.
Great start for Okami, looking to carry on the momentum established on console at the first map of the night, where they're on the back foot for a lot of that. Brought back a massive deficit as Mangoes finds one as well. We're in Digital left now to try and clutch this one up.
Scanning for electronic devices.
Okami just seem to have the intel for all of these runouts, and they're just capitalizing dramatically. No HP taken off from any of them in the runout attempts. That means they are just so ready for it. Yet again, Digital trying to ease into the face of Joker just gets denied, and as does the Jaeger. Okami, flawless round to start us off on Coastline.
Of course, I mean, maybe Elevate, they don't care about where Okami finishes, but for themselves, I mean, there's still the prize pool distribution that they're worried about. They don't want to fall behind LFO, for example, because then that will mean less money. And like I sort of alluded to earlier, LFO will not be too far behind. I mean, in fact, they're actually going to both be drawn on 15 points, if I'm correct, as we stand. Elevate won one map earlier tonight. Elevate lost their map so far. So if I'm correct, they'll be even on points at the moment, and they don't want to drop down any further.
You're right, yeah, there is still stuff on the line for Elevate here, so they need to pick it up, that's for sure. That first round, really
Attackers
just
need to locate and defuse bombs.
not too good. A lot of aggression, trying to vary up their playstyle, but Okami were just ready for every inch of that just then. I think that kind of stuff isn't going to work against Okami, and see whether they make necessary adjustments straight away here. Playing Kitchen, so not going to be repeating Blue Bar Sunrise at least, to keep Okami guessing just for a little bit longer.
In fact, reiterating on my point there about the standings, it's important to keep in mind that LFO also play
10
Thursday
seconds
night.
to insertion.
So that means if Elevate do not win
5 seconds to go.
this map, they will finish 7th because they lost the head-to-head against LFO earlier in the season when they lost quite dramatically on Clubhouse. So if Elevate do not win this map, they will finish 7th. If they win this map, they still might finish 7th, depending on how LFO finished their season. So, I mean, it is a bit grim for Elevate, but they need to try and put their best foot forward in an attempt to try and finish 6th.
It just goes to show you as well, they really only had what you would say 2 kind of poor weeks in terms of their form. And that's all it took for them to end up in this position. I mean, you look at the first half of their season there, up until week 3, they'd only really lost 1 map. And then it just went downhill, and it goes to show you how tight the competition's been in Six Masters, where you just need consistent form, map in, map out, week in, week out. Comes back to bite you at the late stages. Bit better here though on this round, guys, at least. It is still a 5 versus 5 after the first minute has expired, and that's a great sign.
Optimism is key.
Oh, no.
It's not. Braven.
I've done it.
Raven gets the first pick there onto Worthy, and now it is a 5-on-4. Make that a 4-on-4. Joker taken down as well. But as that occurs, God Legion 2 will be taken off the board, and Elevate will be at that man disadvantage. It's a position they found themselves in time and time again earlier tonight. And unfortunately here again on Coastline, it will be on that back foot.
And again, Okami just flexing their strengths on attack. I think generally their reputation is that they are a really solid team with their attacks. So I think I wouldn't excuse it, but I mean, like, fair enough that it's hard to deal with, because it is. They are a relentless team on their attacks. So it's really where Elevate just needs to stay in touch with them in this defense half, and then lean into the strength into the second half. But right now, Okami are just absolutely all over them on these attacks.
Normally on Coastline, as
Attackers
the
activating diffuser.
defense, you want to be running around and trying to cause as much chaos as possible, but the attack from Okami is exactly that, and Red, given no respite, will be shut down. And unfortunately for Elevate, a bad night is only turning worse at the moment.
It is, and they've got to pick it up here. They need to be able to fight back to Okami again. They just need to stay in touch, at least in this first half, to enable them to really bring it back in the second. Going to continue to rotate through bomb sites, at least not repeating failures, and they're going to be going to hookah billiards. This reinvigorates them in their defense here.
I mean, while we have the downtime, we can probably talk a little bit about Akami's position. I mean, after that consulate map, they will be equal second with Team Sinister on 24 points.
Attackers
Not
need
sure
to locate
who's
and
won the
defuse as
head-to-head
many bombs
in
as
that
they can.
matchup, though. See if I can find that real quick. I'm under the pump here. So it was 7-5-7-5, so I don't quite know what it then filters down to. I don't want to speak out of line.
Attackers
That's also
discovered
pretty
the
interesting for
location
who's
of
going
a
to take that second spot.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is the math can get pretty complicated with these head-to-heads. It's pretty hard to calculate on the fly, and I mean, you guys probably know the history of caster math up until this stage, so we'll see how we
Speak
go
for
at the end.
yourself. Speak for yourself.
Hey, my math, to my credit, has been pretty on point. I'm just talking about
True.
using
Yeah, true.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Oh, well.
At the end of the day, it just comes down to these teams that they have to just, as always, they have to put their best foot forward, perform, and secure points. I don't think it's best just not to leave things up to math. You don't put yourself in those situations, and it's just what both of these teams really need to do here. I mean, Okami need to do that so that they're not stuck in that head-to-head math battle to just retain a top 4 spot. But likewise with Elevate, as you were pointing out, they need these map points so they can get out of 7.
Red playing behind red bar at the moment. Beauty will drone that ahead. Mangoes to follow with Diffuser. Keep in mind that they are defending Hookah and trying to maintain control below. Fast does get the first pick onto Nomad, so depending on whether or not Joker got those air jabs out, that could be a pretty critical play in allowing the rest of Elevate to be aggressive late round.
Goes to the big pick there. Jack Daddy fights back too. That means Okami gives themselves that man advantage. Again, early picks are really killing Elevate literally here on Coastline. It's 3 rounds where within the first half of the round especially, they've just been losing people left, right, center. Red heavily tagged up. Now he's downed. Again, Okami just fighting hard, pushing forward on these attacks.
Minute 30 left now in the round. God Legion and Digital left to hold the fort. 1 player assigned to each side of the objective. Digital has, I believe, been droned out. Definitely now that that drone has been shot. Digital is trying to hold this position. That player quick peeking will delete him. Oh my, Mangoes with the triple. And now God Legion is left in a 1-on-4. Minute left on the board. There's a player progressing up cool vibes. God Legion is distracted, could be flanked. Meanwhile, these players are trying to progress below as well. God Legion in a world of hurt is eventually lit up from below, and it was the lifeline to take his life. And this is very rough for Elevate at the moment.
It is. It really is. These are Okami attacks. Again, I've used the keyword relentless. I can't think of a better word for it. They just keep going and so much pressure. And it's looking even more coordinated on Coastline than it looked like on Consulate, to be completely honest. So Elevate need to figure out something here, need to make some adaptations fast, because they might be looking at a really difficult deficit to overcome in the second half.
And I have received confirmation that after the mini league head-to-head round difference, which we established earlier, is equal between Okami and Sinister, it then goes down to overall round difference, which is a really key point, I think, to bring up. Okami currently have a lower round difference, or a lesser round difference, than Team Sinister. So Okami really want to just smash Elevate here, because that gives them a really nice opportunity late in the season to jump Team Sinister if they end up drawn on points, which is a possibility.
Boy, oh boy, the complications and what could happen can happen.
I hope I'm making sense. I'm trying to simplify as much as I can.
Yeah, it makes sense, but I mean, everyone has to think about it too. On top of that, there are 2 playdays to go with a lot of matches of these other opponents that we're talking about. It really is, again, coming down to that situation where Okami could have their fate in other teams' hands, which is, again, not great to be dealing with. So, to maximize that, they've got to get all points here, and then they have to be ready to go hard up against Wildcard on Thursday.
It's been a great start from Okami so far. Really look like losing a round yet, and Worthy will get a pick onto Mangoes. A nice shot by him.
Drone ready.
Really the first glimpse of confidence that we have seen from Elevate so far here on Coastline. They now need to try and convert that into the rest of the round. Time and time again, we've seen them slip up late round in their defenses, and I guess Coastline is a map that can be quite prone to that slip up. That's important that they just get this round in the bag.
Giving themselves a man advantage. What seems like something that's not happened yet on Coastline. Early in the round as well. See if they can hold on to it. Frag grenade coming through the rafters. Beautifully hits Digital.
No.
Well cooked by Cutie. He's been playing really well for Okami tonight, as well as for the season in general. Really been helping them propel forward and having less pressure on Ipusal, who you would say was probably the one that needed to step up more often than not for the team. Always helps having that secondary.
Oh, Aaron flash there from Ipusal, as he's now trying to pre-fire in towards Sunrise. Okami gathering some nice control around the objective. Elevate though, quite content in holding off-site. Cutie, that's a very nasty angle to the bottom of the cool vibes, but doesn't quite see God Legion playing at that position. And with a minute to go, they need to try and find these picks.
Thought he'd actually seen the elbow at one stage there, but not quite. Does catch Worthy, only with a couple of bullets. Could have finished him off. 4 versus 4, 45 seconds. Oh, the grenade does enable Worthy to get through. Joker gets another though. That means that Okami have found their man advantage. 40 seconds as Ipustal is on the flank here in through kitchen. Like it might be another Okami round.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Worthy and Vast trying to clutch this one up. Make that just Worthy. His barrel has been revealed. Ipustal will net the kill. And this has been an absolute onslaught from Okami so far. And I mean, keep in mind, this is also Elevate's map pick, right? So this is really rough. Yes, Coastline traditionally will be a little bit more attacker-sided, but this has just been an absolute smashing so far, really.
It has, and look, I don't think Elevate are really playing that well at the moment, on top of the fact that Okami are just not giving up or not relenting. They are just putting more pressure, and their attacks have just been clean. an attacker-sided coastline in general. So again, to reiterate, Elevate just need to stay in touch. They need to get the next 2 rounds for sure, so they have a chance to be able to bring it back on their attack half.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Seems like so far that maybe that Dockerby ban hasn't really had much of an effect, or at least not the effect intended
Bomb
by
located
Elevate.
attackers.
Kami, despite not having her on the board, have still been quite disruptive late round and able to pull off these aggressive executes. And I mean, this is scary. If I'm Sinister or if I'm Wildcard and I'm watching this, in the back of my mind, I'd be mindful. I'd be, you know, observing, sitting back and just thinking, hey, Okami, they might be the real deal this season. And I mean, if those teams do end up facing off in the playoffs,
ADS deployed and ready to go.
it'll make for some really exciting
Attackers are heading
matchups.
out to defuse a bomb.
On a dig deep for Elevate. Back on kitchen we are. Last time they held it, of course. As you can see, they've won no rounds, so they did lose it. They can put in a better performance now. Worthy eventually just opens that window. Maybe just trying to bait it out. Repel's going to go up, but no gunfight coming
Bomb
out at this
located by
stage.
attackers.
I think Elevate just need to hold on to at least equal man count for as long as they can, because Okami have just been getting those early man advantages, and then it just waterfalls from that point.
Vast and Gold Legion both playing aggressively above Ippy style. Out of nowhere, as always, we'll be getting aggressive towards 90, flashing out that position already and really has no fear. This is a very dangerous Ippy style to take on, and he gets the first pick, doesn't find the second. A great refrag there from Gold Legion will down the Ash. Another gunfight ensues. Cutie misses that shot. Ippy style unlikely to be picked up, but Joker will find that frag, and look, maybe the Ash will be revived now. A great start again for Okami.
So revived, so not even a trade coming out there in the end. Or Elevate. Aggressive is the Jaeger, does get the trade eventually onto Ippy, the dangerous player off the board for Okami. Trying to spark something for Elevators. Worthy gets another nice shot onto Joker.
What?
Makes it a 3 versus 3. Beautifully played from Worthy. Might give Elevate the chance to look back into this round.
It's been a big drought between round wins here for Elevate. 4 straight so far here on Coastline. Off the back of losing Consulate. 55 seconds left on the board as Cutie will continue to open up the floor above. Oh, he sees the backpack there of red on the Maestro, but can't land any shots. Ping goes out, but he can't quite find his position. Eventually, we'll see the feet. And now it's just a 1v3 like that. Digital, again, he's been left in so many of these clutches. But so difficult to win. His position revealed so much utility being dumped on him at the moment. And surely it's a matter of time until he is taken off the board. There's a player in courtyard. He will find the pick, and Okami will take 5 rounds straight.
In fact, if you want to run it back to the first map, that's 9 rounds straight in the camp of Okami. They just haven't been able to find an answer. This is the last round of the half for them to do just that, so they can at least have a slither of momentum coming into this second half.
I guess Elevate's season has really just fallen apart in tonight, only exemplifying that. This second map in particular is not the brand of siege they were bringing to Consulate.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Okami just walking all over them at the moment.
Bomb
As I mentioned
located by
earlier,
attackers.
Okami will be absolutely licking their lips at the moment, because the more rounds that they can win here against Elevate, the bigger that round differential becomes, the better off they will be in the final standings, particularly against Team Sinister. So it is critical that Okami do not let off maybe even try go for a 7-0, which, look, I mean, I backed Okami 2-0 into tonight, but I did not expect either of the maps to be as one-sided as this one's been so far.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we want to talk about mindset. Elevate are well aware of their position right now. They know what's up, and so playing with that is not great. Actually it's a terrible feeling knowing that like you can't make playoffs, and even the fact that like they're going to be finishing in that bottom end of the ladder is totally heartbreaking for them. And they're probably trying their hardest right now, but it's there's no discounting how tough that can be to play through. It's probably the longest map of their life, even though it's been 5-0 right now. It probably feels like it's an eternity.
Definitely difficult times ahead for Elevate, but there is something to salvage here. Try and give themselves the opportunity to finish 6th, try and finish ahead of LFO in the standings and give themselves a little bit more pride and a little bit more prize money. Hippie Style again is playing so aggressively. 6-1 so far here on Coastline, and it feels like every time we switched to him early round, he's found himself somewhere very close to the objective just by shift Wing through that position. And again, he's going to get aggressive over towards Vars. This man feels no fear at the moment, pre-firing cool vibes. Vars is ready and waiting though.
Good map control obtained now in the first half of the round. Still a minute 30 to go. It's going to spell pretty big danger here for Elevate. Fast looking like he still wants to get aggressive, but that's going to be a bit tougher with the Nomad now joining the play here. Edge up the top of those stairs. Last time that edge up was easy enough shot. Might be the same in this instance. Whilst trying to find it, drone spots him out. Otherwise, being heavily contested right now, and this is going to be the real critical control point here for Okami.
Minute on the board, Hippie Style getting impatient, will try and push, but won't find the pick. Cutie does find one himself. That's digital off the board. He was playing the smoke. No more gas grenades to be utilized for the remainder of this round. Cutie creating a lot of vertical pressure down below now in towards Sunrise. Again, this is a bit of a stall out point over towards Cool Vibe. So Hippie Style unable to find a pick, but Joker will find one, Jack Daddy as well, and it's just falling apart here for Elevate. Okami will surely have a flawless half, and it's now red left to clutch it up. But Okami will get a flawless round and a flawless half. Textbook siege here so far from Okami, and Elevate are just struggling.
Yeah, they are hard up against... They're through the ropes. They're hard up against the floor. I don't know what analogy to use, but either way, it's on the dark side of the moon, that's for sure. Army are on match point now, looking at a 7-0, and most importantly, besides the fact they're getting map points, as you've pointed out, heavily boosting their round differential.
Another Tachanka. We did see Tachanka once tonight on Consulate, but Cutie will 6-pick off him on this occasion. A little bit unfortunate. Kitchen service will be the site though. That won't be changed. And I mean, we have no idea what to expect. This is literally Okami's very first defense round here on Coastline. So we don't know what we're walking into. I mean, the question really is, can Elevate win 6 rounds in a row? Probably leaning towards no, but I would love to see them give it a shot.
Attackers have located a bomb.
See what the second half has in store for us. Okami have elected to go kitchen first. Like they're going to be putting this vertical control in through Theater Master VIP section. Isal himself looks like he's going to be the one to forward. He's actually 7-1 right now. And I just realized, guys, Cutie didn't even die in that first half. Neither did Jack Daddy.
Yeah, a little bit concerning. And I mean, on the side of Elevate, a couple of their players still on 0 kills after 6 rounds. That's really, really rough. Definitely think the first map has had its toll, and Elevate have found it really difficult to bring back that mindset, and Cutie will get the first pick in the round, and we are edging closer and closer now to an Okami 2-0.
Kami are just not letting up at all. There's absolutely no mercy coming out from them.
Attackers recovered the diffuser. A bomb has been
It's like Elevator looking for a service push here with this Montaigne. There are two players looking at him, and Vast is just going deep. He's going to be copping so much utility and so many guns. God Legion does get a frag from that, though, onto Joker. And another following it up. Refrag from above. All happening in the first minute, though, as plant is going down, guys.
Looks like the plant will be stuck by Vast somehow amidst all that chaos, and it's now a 3-on-3 post plant. Definitely winnable still here for Okami if they get aggressive. Jack Daddy will jump out, is air jabbed and will be cleaned up. Leaving it now up to Cutie and Mangoes. Cutie entering in towards Kitchen as Elevate will find a couple more picks on the board, and Cutie's now left in a 1-on-3. The C4 goes out, doesn't quite hit its mark. All three members from Elevate are low, so it's still potentially winnable. But it will be a tall order. Oh, that's a nice shot by Cutie with the Deagle. That's one. He doesn't have time. 10 seconds left. It takes 7 seconds to counter defuse. And unfortunately, Cutie will not have what it takes. And somehow, Elevate, with that ridiculous Montaigne strat, will finally win a round. It took 7. But there we go. It will not be a flawless victory to Okami.
No, it will not. Cutie didn't die though, so he still hasn't died. But oh, that Desert Eagle flick through the rotate there, that was insane. Cutie has just been so sharp lately. Look, I'm just glad it isn't going to be a 7-0. We could still see a comeback. Hey, look, I'm not going to say anything just yet, but it would be a comeback, you know.
Probably be the greatest comeback I've ever witnessed in competitive Siege. To be honest, I don't think I've actually ever seen a 6-0 comeback. I could be wrong. I think I have. It's definitely pretty unprecedented. Either way, though,
I can recall a few, but it's definitely definitely a rarity.
yeah.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Blue bar Sunrise will be the site. Again, Elevate will be bringing the Montaigne. 100% success rate with Montaigne so far, so why not stick with it?
Bomb located by attackers.
Everything about that round should not have gone Elevate's way, but I mean it did. Maybe that's why it worked. So they're just going to try and continue that trend and make Okami feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Okami rotating to Blue Bar Sunrise, so again, not
10
repeating.
seconds to go.
It's like a hard hold might be happening in office here. Sure, might be Jack Dad himself
5
holding it with the
seconds left
Wamai.
before insertion.
There's Magnus just to prevent utility coming in his
Attackers are
direction,
heading out to defuse
enable him
bomb.
to hold it just that
The
touch
attacker's
longer.
bomb diffuser has
See
been
what
dropped.
Elevate do. I mean, they're
Attackers
bringing this
recovered the
Montaigne
bomb
again, so
diffuser.
maybe they're looking to just do as many direct pushes as possible. Because one thing that's hard with Okami is just the pressure on roam clears, or their roaming pressure. Players like Hippistar, for example, hard to keep track of and shut down. Might be just looking to push direct.
Worthy does get pick number 1 onto Cutie. Unfortunately, Cutie has died. If his style almost dies, getting lit up there from the front door. Completely ignores the E1D and will run through security. Vast though,
Bomb located by
diffuser
attackers.
in hand. We'll just straight line it through kitchen. No one really there to support though, so not sure what the play is. It looks like he will rotate over towards red.
Yeah, literally going towards red bar, but not sure whether they're going to be going.
Oh, that's terrible.
Just yet.
That was bad. That was bad.
Hey, lay off. They might be just going for a direct point here. I don't know. I mean, there's 3 of them stacked here. They haven't got any vertical control. Gold Legion and Digital have controlled kitchen, I think. So it looks like they might be just going for this.
Joker is in a position to deny it behind a red bar. Hasn't really revealed himself as of yet, I don't believe. Instead, playing quite patiently. Another E1D will go out. Joker hears these players to his right. Again, just playing ultra patiently. Does he see the player to his left? I think he does. Does he get the down? No. Montaigne gets aggressive and will shut him down. There's a lot going on here. It's a 4-on-1. Ippy Style now left to clutch it up, and Elevate may well win 2 rounds straight. Ippy Style does find the first fast, sticking the plant.
Attackers activating diffuser.
I mean, we did see Ippy Style clutch up a 1v3 on Consulate to boost his team's chances of winning that map, and in the end they did. This one though, looking a little bit more unlikely. And there we go. Elevate will shut him down. And I mean, look, come back, question mark. I mean, look, it's close. Maybe.
To be honest, both attacks have been pretty good from Elevate. I mean, they've got plant down with at least 3 or more players alive. That's a pretty good stat. So, see whether they can keep it together. They got 4 to make it back to overtime at least.
Kitchen service to be attempted. Again, Elevate will bring a shield, but on this occasion it's actually going to be Blitz. I don't think... Has Blitz been played at all in Six Masters? I feel like she hasn't, or he hasn't rather.
Attackers
Surely not.
and diffuse
I'm not sure about all of Six Masters, but yeah, look, it's been
Definitely
a long
not tonight.
time.
Definitely not tonight.
Bomb
Definitely
located
not.
by
I think
attackers.
in recent history, at least, the only person I can think of playing Blitz has been Pengu, but I didn't get to watch all of the EU Clash matches, at least. Yeah, so we'll see what Vast can do. I mean, he's been playing a lot of Montaigne, so he feels shield prepared, I guess.
Yes. I mean, Blitz can be a little bit scary. Depending on the sort of range the engagement is, Vast might try and get in the faces of Okami a little bit. On top of that, he does have 2 smoke grenades which will aid in the plant.
5 seconds remaining.
We'll have to wait and see just how effective that Blitz pick is.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Here comes the train, right behind a Blackbeard, I've got to say. So let's not overlook the fact that they also brought Blackbeard, and it's Gold Legion on the Blackbeard. Like, that man really needs a shield to help him in engagements.
Well, they're both droning themselves in as well, so expect them to pair up for the remainder of the round. This is going to be like a recreation of that cursed image where the Blitz is ADF and then the Blackbeard's behind covered. Oh no.
Actually,
I would not
yes.
want to face this. I would not want to face this as Okami. This is scary.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser. Attackers
Always
recovered
just to
the
push
diffuser.
straight into kitchen. Again, they're electing not to really room clear that heavy. Just quite direct pushes. Holding rotate down by security. They are able to get an entry here.
Gold Legion still probing. Trying to find a pick. Fast as well, still crouching. Smoke comes out, comes across to the right. Entry will now follow. Oh, this is scary. Vast sprinting straight in. He has the diffuser in hand, but he doesn't care. Flashes the player in service. He will back towards Bath, and more smoke's being used, but Vast is just running straight through them, and he will eventually flash the smoke, and he will maybe take down the Maestro. He does. Both players will be cleaned up, and now it's Jack Dad left in a 2 versus 1. And Vast may well have done the biggest brain play in Six Masters, but this plant could be denied. No, it's actually on the other side of the wall. Jack Daddy now progresses through kitchen. The blitz to his right and a player on ping. Definitely winnable, but Jack Daddy is low on HP. C4 comes out. Does no damage though. Free fire as well. Will follow, but Jack Daddy's blind. Oh my. Blitz is OP, honestly. Why don't we see more blitz? That's the question. That's what Elevate should be doing. They just need to bring more blitz.
Oh, nice little flick there. Yeah, look, it's been great use of the blitz, to be honest. That worked out quite well for them. That's 3 in a row. It's, I don't know, man. We're halfway through the comeback.
I wonder if there's going to be pick stats at the end of the Six Masters season. It's going to have blitz at like a pick rate of 0.1%, but 100% win rate. That's going to be a sight for sore eyes.
Might be the case, man. You know, go back to the Montaigne this time though. So Vast really digging the shields.
But it's working, so can't fault them. I mean, we are joking around a little bit here, but let's be honest, like, this comeback is starting to become a little bit more real. And I mean, even if they don't bring it back, Okami again
Attackers
are
need to
losing
locate
critical
and
rounds
defuse
here
as
for that
many
round
bombs as they
differential.
can.
They really wanted to just close this out 7-0, give themselves an extra 7 points in the round diff, but Elevate now, in getting 3, have really closed down that gap.
They have planted on all 3 of their attacks too. So
Attackers have discovered the location of
they're
a bomb.
having quite successful attacks, which is quite astounding given how the first half went. See whether Okami can finally deal with it. Bringing an alibi, which is a bit of a different kind of
10
strategy
seconds
for
left
this
before insertion.
objective here. See whether Cutie can use it to much effect or not. He's now died twice, by the way.
Castle
Attackers
cursed.
are moving to defuse a bomb.
I mean, it looks like Cutie's doing some sort of weird hybrid hold below. He has the shield in blue to cover him from the window. Potentially trying to prevent any members of Elevate pushing underneath. Jack Daddy and Ippy Style as well playing below. I mean, if Okami lose this round, it really feels like they're just, again, extending outside of their comfort zone a little bit. Maybe they just need to play a little bit safer. But again, we don't know how this round's going to play out. Maybe this will be the perfect strategy in countering whatever
located
Elevate is
by
currently
attackers.
bringing to the board.
It is going to be Vast again, pushing through with the Montaigne. He's got Diffuser again, so that's always a little bit risky if you've got the Montaigne to be playing aggressive to get the intel. Dies in any position, that means Diffuser is stuck deep. Linking up with Red, who's playing the Ash, which is also a little off pick, I guess you would say, for Red. A bit more of a flex support player. He's gone deep up towards Vaz. He's trying to get this intel. Wants to figure out if there's someone in Drinks Bar.
Well, there is. That's Joker as Mangoes gets dropped. Jack Daddy does find a pick though, so effectively we are in a 4-on-4 scenario. Joker in a fantastic position to hold the cross as Jack Daddy gets another, and this is starting to fall apart here for Elevate. Gold Legion finds one back. He actually finds 2 in the end. So great round from him. In fact, it's 3. Fast in the meantime is turtle planting in towards site. It's a 2-on-2. Jack Daddy needs to try and deny it. Fast actually falls off it in the end, a little bit scared of that flank, and he might well hunt the kill. And there we go. It's now a 1-on-1. Ippy Style looking to finish off the round, finish off the map and get 6 points for this evening. But no, Fast will fake it and just misses Ippy Style. This could go on for a while. There's still 50 seconds on the clock. And this could go on for ages. Vast will try to stick it again. Will he fake it? Yes, he will. Ippy Style misses again. And this is just a game of cat and mouse. Fast now getting aggressive over towards Cool Vibes, getting lit up again, but won't take any damage. Keep in mind, a couple of shots will take him out as he will now reattempt the plant.
Oh, just missing the opportunity. Take some shots and some damage. So now they're basically equal HP. Last 20 seconds here. Vast is just hunting. I kind of feel like he just needs to go for it, right? Like, Ippy Style constantly has this intel, knows he's pushing. He might have the opportunity to stick this one. Comes off the plant, gets the kill in the end, guys. The Montaigne perseveres. What? Elevate, get 4 in a row now.
I mean, Vast is getting my MVP pick for the week for sure. This is crazy. This is the best. Greatest Montaigne player I've ever seen in my life. 10 out of 10.
Oh, jeez.
Ah, my.
Well, yeah. Look, it's 6-4, man.
I don't know what to say. That round was ridiculous, man. Oh, wow. Whew. Comeback is on. 4-6. Fast again, sticking the Montaigne, so it's basically a round 1 for Elevate. Oh, no. Okami must be feeling a little bit of stress now. They really don't want to be throwing this map. Because again, the ramifications for the rest of their season could be pretty big.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
It's the first time they've repeated bomb site as well. In succession, at least. see whether they have an adjustment. Maybe they felt like they threw it away or something like that. I don't know. I felt like Elevate had a lot of control, funnily enough, throughout most of that round until it became the 1v1. But see what happens here. One thing I'm surprised about is that Okami aren't bringing a hard counter for the Monte. Like, they're clearly sticking it. There's Ella or Legion that would be fantastic in this situation.
Attackers
Very
must
fair
locate
point.
and defuse the bomb.
Ippy style looking like he may have been going for a jump out. Yeah, he did, but he's back in the map now. Unfortunate for him, unable to win that last 1v1. Definitely frustrated at the fact that that shield behind Vasta's back on the plant made it incredibly challenging in that 1v1 scenario. Either way though, on the topic of Vast, he has the diffuser in hand and I think he's running over towards Aqua, so this is probably where the action's going to go down.
Yeah, again, I'm feeling like it's probably going to be a relatively direct approach here. See what happens. That's a great start. Worthy gets the first pick onto Cutie. So, again, Elevate just tidying up on these attacks. We might be seeing 2 6-0 halves here. But Styles aggressed up into that position in Kitchen. Might be able to catch Ike off guard. Some pre-firing happening. Not sure if there's a drone on this. Ipistyle just missing the player. He's up on the pad and actually gets it. Unbelievable. Gets away with his life on 1 HP.
Oh. I've seen things on this map that I will not unsee. Ippy style scathes away with an absolute slither of HP, but most importantly now Vast is almost ready for a plant. Digital finds Ippy style on that flank. And I mean, Elevate could well go for an execute very shortly here.
It's true. I mean, they have the downstairs cut off. Digital's there to watch the window. Gold Legion was repelled on the double, which is a really strong position for a Blackbeard. I think he's off that repel now, though. They're just double checking that they do have control. I agree. I think they're pretty well set up to be able to get this execute. There is a player in office, though. I'm not sure if they haven't thought about that or missed it. That could be their downfall.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
Jack Daddy could well run out here. It is being watched though. Digital deep in ruins, putting Jack Daddy under a lot of pressure. Question is, does he know where he's gone to? Meanwhile, Red will drop Mangoes and Elevate do have the man advantage. Diffuser needs to be planted though. Only 30 seconds left on the board for them to do so. Joker will be wide swung by Blackbeard of all players, and now it's Jack Dad left in a 1-on-3, still in a gunfight with Digital. Finally gets out on top, and now he needs to try and deny the plant. He's forced up cool vibes. 1v2, Red and Gold Legion both full HP here, given plenty of time to reposition themselves into favorable gunfights. One in fact has gone below towards Blue Bar, another in towards Aqua, so this round is looking incredibly challenging for Jack Daddy. Gold Legion in fact is now repelling, holding the rotate, but it doesn't matter. Red will shut him down, and I mean, Elevate, they may well be bringing this one back, which I cannot believe I'm saying.
1 round away from OT we are. Need to remind everybody, Okami entered this half up 6-0. And 2 of their players didn't even die in the first half. So Elevate have really brought this back. Most of these attacks, until that last round, haven't really looked in doubt. 4 of the 5 rounds that we've seen on this attack half have all been plants. So that's a really damning stat there for Elevate. And oh boy, I really feel like this is going to be overtime, guys.
Yeah, look, all I'm saying is next time someone complains that
Attackers
Siege
need
is
to
too
locate and
defender
defuse
sided,
as
I'm just
many
gonna
bombs as
send
they
them this
can.
VOD and be like, please explain. And yes, I know, yes, yes, Coastline is, attack side, blah, 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 blah. But 6 rounds, potentially in a row for each team on attack.
Attackers have
That is
located the bomb.
ridiculous.
I mean, a good point though. 14 rounds were played on Consulate. 3 of those were defensive. And then we've seen 0 defense wins on the coastline. We're in round 12. It's like 20-something rounds where only 3 have been defense wins. I think that is pretty unusual
Remaining.
for Siege.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, probably. I would think so.
Remaining.
It's been a weird night.
Attackers are heading out
Feed
to
up
defuse
and
a
running.
bomb.
Okami, though, they're looking to try and close this night out themselves. I mean, it was looking like it was going to be an early bedtime for them, but this map has started to slide away a little bit. In fact, quite a bit. 5 rounds straight in favor of Elevate, and the real threat of overtime here. Final preparations going up here from Okami. Elevate again bringing a pretty similar cheese lineup, if you would. Blackbeard and Montaigne still in play. Jackal as well. I mean, if an amp broke, don't fix it.
Has been working out well. And look, bring up the round difference. Something we talked about. Okami are up 6-0. And that was looking super promising, not just for the fact they were winning the map, but they would have been able to heavily boost their round differential. But that's not the case anymore. That has been completely nullified.
Awkward engagement again here between Montaigne and defender Jack Daddy on this occasion. Mangoes will get the first pick. With style the second, and this Montaigne is causing so many headaches. Fast. Getting ultra aggressive inside of Theodore. Will catch a player to his left. Tries to hip fire, narrowly misses. And Joker gets, Jack Daddy rather, gets overly aggressive and shut down. Now leaving it in a 3-on-4 in favor still of Okami.
Yeah, Okami did finally come out on top in those opening engagements, which hasn't happened in the previous rounds. So this is definitely their best look in so far, but still some troublesome operators up. There's this Jackal for footprints, and obviously God Legion on this Blackbeard, one of Elevate's usually most prolific fraggers. Having that shield in front of his face has not been easy to deal with. On top of that, the Montaigne still alive, so by no stretch is this Okami's round, but it's definitely looking like one of their better attempts.
Keep style will drop Didge, leaving it now in a 2 versus 4. Okami wanting to close out the map, close out this series 2-0. It's been a strong night for them so far, and they just want to get the deal sealed. God Legion at the kitchen window, Vast over towards service, a little bit disconnected at the moment. Probably best that they try and team up instead. But it looks like they might go for a pinch, which could work as well. But Gold Legion will be lit up by a goo. Montaigne taken off the board, and now it's a 1 versus 4. God Legion surely can't win this round. With 20 seconds left, the diffuser outside the service store. It's looking like this will be the end of Elevate's season, and it is. Okami will take map number 2. They finally managed to win a defense.
The very last round of regulation was the first defense on this entire map that won. But yes, well played by Okami. They did secure full map points tonight. Damage was done though in the end with that comeback because look, the round differential boost that Okami were looking at never eventuated.
Yeah, I mean, and that could have pretty big ramifications on how the rest of the season plays out. Keep in mind that Okami still actually have another play day, right? This is Super Week. Due to the reschedule earlier in the season, they will actually be playing Thursday night, which means that they have another opportunity for 6 points, and they should find themselves pretty comfortable in the top 4.
You would think so now that they have won both maps tonight. They do have wildcard on Thursday. We would have to crunch some numbers and take a look at the updated standings and run some scenarios because I don't know what the chances are they could get knocked out now. But I think they've definitely put their best foot forward. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. There's a lot of people vying for that coveted 4th spot.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about the top 4 spots, of course, if you are just joining us, unfortunately, Elevate off the back of losing, well, it was the first map, but 2 in total, they cannot make, essentially, the top 4 now, so they can't make the playoffs, which is heartbreaking for them. They were the first seeded team heading into this competition. They finished 2nd in the last season of Pro League, so this has been a bit of a fall from grace from them, and it's really just been a compound of small issues, I think, that have built up, and unfortunately, it just overflowed the back half of this season.
Yeah, and again, we talked about it a bit. They had just a couple of weeks there where their form really peaked in its slump. And that was all it took. They just lost a bunch of maps in a row to teams like the Knights, for example, that you wouldn't normally expect for them to struggle so hard against. And that's really all it took. Six Masters has just been that competitive where in the blink of an eye, your chances of playoffs have just been shattered.
And I mean, on the flip side for Okami, this has been a great night, right? 6 points in the bag. If my calculations are correct, that should put them, I think, even points with wild cards that equal first in terms of points, which is pretty interesting, right? I don't think I expected at least Okami to be as strong as they were this season. I mean, they lost the org representation as well on top of, a little bit of a tumultuous last season. But hey, Six Masters for them has been really positive. And again, they have an opportunity on Thursday night to gain even more points, which is massive.
It is, and that's going to be a big series as well, because that's basically a fight for first place. It's Wildcard and Okami. Wildcard do have a game tomorrow night, I believe. But yeah, look, it's going to be still a brutal Thursday to figure out where these positions are going to end up in the top 4.
Well, I'm pretty sure he'll be wrapped with tonight's result. It is Slentus from Okami. Let's say good day.
Hello there. I just needed to fight against that Ying. I didn't see anything. How are you guys? How are you doing?
I am going well.
Good, man.
How are you, man? You are looking very, very fresh. How are you feeling?
Oh man, I'm fucking stoked. That was such an amazing match. The Tachanka strat was all mental game. We definitely planned that. Random picks, everything. I swear nobody went AFK mid-match. No. So yeah, don't even have to ask about that.
Great, yeah. Look, you definitely answered the hottest question that I had on my tongue, so thanks for that. Look, I want to talk about Consulate a bit. You guys were really on the back foot. Elevate had you read really well in that first half, and we did see an attacker-sided map in the end. But can you tell us about maybe any adjustments you guys made at halftime, or really just what helped you guys bring it back?
So they knew all of our strategies. We didn't do anything new that we haven't done before on Consulate. So it was expected that they were able to counter-strat us pretty well, which they did. Amazing job on the support stuff from them. That was incredibly well done, and the execution on the player is incredible. In the end, it came down to mental. Our team was down. And the half was that what we needed. We stepped down, sat there and talked for 1 minute, and the players got back up and recovered mentally completely. Otherwise, without that, we would have lost the next 2 rounds and would have been out. But it was all the mental side, and then our defense, our attacks are even better, especially on Consulate, but overall. And so yeah, it was definitely a mental game, and we won that.
Yeah, so you had a great series tonight, but of course you're not actually done with Six Masters yet. You have one final crucial series on Thursday against Wildcard. Tell us now that Elevate's out of the way, how are you guys feeling about that, and how are you approaching your final match of the season?
I mean, if you're not gonna see Tachanka, Frost, and Kapkan, I would be disappointed. I think 2-0 is what we're aiming for, 2-0 is what we'll get. So I guess that's gonna be an easy match as well.
Well, Sentis, congrats for tonight. The suit is looking very, very fresh. We'll talk again.
Thank you.
See you later.
See ya.
Well, it's a fashion parade in Six Masters. That's all I'm saying.
We
He's
have
looking like
had
a poker player.
we have had such the strangest collection of interviews of any Siege season of anything ever, I think.
For sure. I mean, we've gone from someone shaving on an interview to glasses and suits, and oh wow, it's amazing. But you know what else was amazing? Okami, 6 points in the bag, and look,
yeah,
I think it was really actually quite interesting that Sentis flagged the mental state, because Okami were down and out on Consulate. Let's be honest, Elevate were dominating them, but then they brought it back, and it was really a great sort of showcase of their mental fortitude.
Yeah, it was, and I've always felt that when you have one team that gains a lot of momentum, and then another team comes back, that next momentum shift is usually the hardest. So I think that's what Elevate really suffered from, because you get into one mental state when you're ahead, you feel confident, you're on your game, but then the other team starts fighting back, and then because there's such a big emotional shift there, I think a lot of teams find that hard to recover from in the end. And I really do feel like that's what we saw from Elevate tonight, which is just, yeah, a bit sad considering the expectations coming in for them in Six Masters. And look, Okami, speaking of expectations, they've lived up to theirs. They came in as second seed, yes. And here they are fighting for a top spot. So all props to them.
Well, unfortunately, Elevate didn't have the greatest night. We do have Digital on the line for an interview. Didge,
Hey guys.
how you
Hey,
feeling,
mate.
man? Really rough tonight.
Look, I'm not going to say I'm feeling the greatest. I'm not exactly jumping out of my shoes, but it is what it is. I think, yeah, it's the end of the season now, so yeah, a break's needed, I think, from us.
Yeah, look, it has been a rough night and a rough season. I want to ask you about the first map, seeing as that was kind of really the nail in the coffin. You guys started off really well, and then it just slowly faded. Can you give us some insight into anything that happened within your camp on how that map ended up turning out?
We had a really good attack half. That was sort of doing what we expected. And then when it came around to defense, I feel like we just kept throwing our leads. Like, I feel like we were sort of in good positions. And we definitely had like rounds that we could have, like, you know, taken the map. We were on match point. But we definitely had a couple of leads, and there were definitely a couple of occasions where, you know, we could have sealed the deal and taken the map. But yeah, we just sort of threw a little bit. And that's never a great feeling. But yeah.
Yeah, and one last thing, a more positive thing. You guys had probably one of my favorite rounds I've seen in a while was your Amaru play. How premeditated was that? Talk us through whether that was on the fly, whether that was by design. I'm just curious to hear a
That's
bit more
correct.
about it.
Vast. That was he sort of wrote that up last night. Yeah, Vast just told us before the game, and it worked really well against them. They give us middle floor really quickly, and they sort of rely on the like retaking the bomb site, but we were just really fast, and we had a lot of window presence. So yeah, yeah, cool little thing made by Vast. Yeah, so shout out to him.
Awesome. Well, throughout the entire season, you guys had really strong support in the polls and online. What would you like to say to all the Elevate fans out there?
Obviously, and I'm not going to shy away from the fact that we're sort of in a slump. So I think we just need I think a break's definitely needed. We didn't really take a break from last season. We just wanted to seriously get a lot of practice in, and sort of live up to our expectations, which could have shot us in the foot. So I think a break is definitely needed from us. We're just going to sort of come back next season, reevaluate our position and our approach towards Siege, and hopefully definitely have a much better season. Our expectations remain the same. You know, top two, you know, first place in ANZ. So we're really going to continue to strive for that.
Awesome. Well, Didge, we appreciate you for coming on. All the best in the future.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for that.
See you, man. Yeah, look, I think he did a good job to keep his chin up, right? They've literally just been knocked out of the playoffs. But Digital did seem pretty positive on the outlook for the future, which I'm happy to see.
Yeah, and for them, it is just a matter of just wasn't their season. They had a slump. It's like I said during the broadcast, teams have slumps, and you can't choose when it's happening. It just happens. So it's all about how you recover from that. And yeah, it's a good thing to hear that they have that in mind. They do need a break. It's a great point as well. Like, they brought Worthy on halfway through season 11 of Pro League. So if you're going to be a top team, you have to keep grinding. You don't get to have that break when Pro League stopped. So maybe is just what they need. They can rejuvenate and bounce back.
Well, that is tonight's matches done. Let's do a recap of the results and see how we got here. First up, it was a pretty fierce series between Kanga and LFO. One apiece in the end, and Kanga finally managed to win a map.
They did. They bounced all over LFO on Cafe, in fact, in map number 2. It was a great map, so definitely go back and watch that. And of course, Series 2 was a really fierce battle. 2 tails completely on both maps, and likewise with the halves of Coastline. That was entertaining stuff.
Indeed it was. Well, these matches have of course shaped up the standing. Let's see where all of these 8 teams in the Six Masters now stand, and Okami have now found themselves all the way up in second position on equal points with Wildcard.
They have. So that will be the dogfight on Thursday between those two teams, Wildcard and Okami, for first place. Because even with Wildcard having a match tomorrow night, I'm just going to quickly check that I'm right about that. Yes, it is. So if Wildcard gets 6 points tomorrow, sure, they go 6 points ahead of Okami. But if Okami gets 6 points on Thursday, well, they can actually take first place based on head-to-head. So Wildcard actually isn't safe up there right now. On top of that, there's the trench battle for 4th and 3rd. That is going to be continuing tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we saw LFO earlier tonight. Unfortunately for them, drop a map against Kanga, which edges them further and further outside of the top 4. We don't believe it's impossible for them to make it inside the top 4, but it's going to be really tough. They need a lot to go their way, and they'll probably need to win 2 maps against Ferox on Thursday. But yeah, basically from Wildcard and Okami down, it's up for grabs.
It is. And just a real quick peek as well, round differential. Okami's round differential isn't super high for their position. So if you look at the likes of Sinister, for example, they could well and truly leapfrog over them. So it's really hard to say where this could end up. I love that it's still super open, and man, it really makes the next 2 nights a really fun watch.
And I mean, this is a bit of a bold statement, but I think it could be fair to say that this is the most competitive, or one of the most competitive Siege tournaments or seasons we've ever had in ANZ. I mean, the last couple of seasons of Pro League, Season 10, Season 11, both of those were really tight. But I mean, with Fnatic out now and with the mid-table really strengthening across the board, it's made for really, really, really close competition.
Yeah, I remember Season 11 felt really close, but that ended up being a bit of a tale of top 4, and then there was bottom 4 all kind of fighting it out. Whereas in 6 Masters, up until tonight, it was 1st to 7th fighting it out for the top 4 spots of playoffs. And tonight, it really only just eliminated Elevate out of that. So there's still 6 teams fighting for top 4 playoffs. It's it's nuts.
Well, that will conclude tonight's matches here in 6 Masters 2020. Tomorrow night, you'll be with Dev and Xenox, so have fun with them. We'll see you guys then. All the best.
You eyes on the hostile.
Time's not kind and it won't let go. No thoughts left in my head. My mind's on mine and it won't forget. But you bring me back from my darkness black. 'Cause the soul in me and the heart I am.